Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspot, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, bringing you the preview and everything else you need to know for tomorrow's massive Carabao Cup third round tie versus Wolves. Of course, we got to the final last year. I definitely want to repeat that this year. But look, we are joined by co-host Jack Kanicki and, of course, channel regular Philip, an absolute legend. Everyone loves him, the voice of reason. But first of all, Jack, my man, how are things with you?
Thinking about the Carabao Cup tomorrow, David, which you think would start off a bit easy. We might be handed maybe a bit of an easier test, but, the fact that it's Wolves, also a team that I think are quite desperate maybe to have some sort of success this season. Again, it's going to be a lot harder maybe than we would like it to be, unfortunately.
No, it definitely is. It's going to be a tough test tomorrow. But look, it's one we need to rise above and overcome. That's for sure. Philip, my man, how are you?
Yeah, good. Yeah, looking forward to the match. Again, we could have done with an easier draw, like Man City always seem to get at home in the early rounds. But listen, you can only beat what's in front of you, and we'll beat the Wolves tomorrow night.
No, 100%. I absolutely love it. Love the optimism. Well, look, let's see what Harris Army members we have with us as well. We have Daryl Denton. He says road to nowhere by Talking Heads, not road to Wembley. Big up, Daryl. Tottenham Tantrum says, big up, guys. Looking forward to the games. We need to back Nuno on the team. Big weeks for us. If anything, we need to show a fury at Levy and Enoch. We are now in the busting Arsenal train. Come on, you Spurs. No, 100%, Dermot. You're on the train. Don't worry. I'll give you a ticket. You're number 4 on the train, my man. You're number 4. But no, big up, Dermot. We definitely big weeks ahead, and we do have to give Nuno a chance, 100%. D-Trex Kane says, big up, David and Jack. Every day streaming. I hope you can do a preview with Ty and DT against the Scum. Look, I'd only love to get the two of them in and wind them up. But honestly, they haven't a clue who I am, my man. They haven't a clue who I am. So there's not a hope of that coming anyway. That's for sure. And I'll just say that, and it's nowhere near anytime soon, if ever. Also, 53 says, just saw the reminder. Big up, lads. Spurs are like my family. I would never boo them, no matter how disappointed I was in their actions and choices. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, also. I'll absolutely love that comment. That's a great comment. We all just need to take a minute and look at that. Exactly. No matter how disappointed we are, we still love the club.
Bit of a mic drop from Old Soul quite early, I would say. Bit of a mic drop early from him. Well done, Old Soul.
No, big yourself up. And D-Trex Kane, I just do want to say, if anyone does want to see that, you just have to go over to AFTV and keep trolling, the Irish Hotspur in there, and then eventually they'll look me up and they might see the benefits of it. Shamu Van Spurs says, let's see set a target of 100 likes. Up the Harris Army. Big yourself up, Shamu. Absolute legend. We have Wembley 1 says, we can boo Levy and Enoch though as loud as we possibly can. Old Soul's not agreeing with you, my man. Old Soul's not agreeing with you, so he's not. Dark Sun G21 says, come on, you Spurs. It's going to be really hard to watch Son versus Hwang as a Korean. We have to be careful of Hwang's skill, speed, and power. Jack, I know you know a little bit about this guy, so go on. You can nerd out with Dark Sun G for a minute or two.
Dark Sun G, maybe I missed you in the comments. It's been quite hectic in the comments recently, Dark Sun G, but do let me know if you saw that heel chop that he performed on. I forget if it was Janssen for Brentford or Ayer, that Brentford player. So whichever one of those center backs that he absolutely destroyed with a Ronaldo-esque heel chop. I mean, David, it was absolute sex watching him do that. Really was. And as well, the Brentford defender wanted to take him down in the box, but he knew that would have added even more insult to injury as well with, how much he was destroyed. So Dark Sun G, do let me know if you saw that heel chop by Wang Hee-chan. It was unbelievable skills.
Nah, big up Dark Sun G. I hope things are well, my man. You'll probably be like Brian C, watching it from behind the couch, my man. Dave Tyson says, evening, big up Davey Tyson. Hope things are well. Killer Collective says, hello, boys. Hope you're all good. We're all good, my man. I hope things are well with you. Adam says, big up, Dave, Jack, and the voice of reason, Philip. Big up, Adam. I hope things are well, my man. Big yourself up. And Old Soul says, Philip is brilliant. Rob Coyne says, big up, lads. Big up, Rob. Hope things are well, my man. Shamu says, get those lights in early for David and Jack. Rise above. Good black flag song. That absolutely love it, Shamu. We have a super chat from Chris Peters. Big up, Chris. Really appreciate the support, my man. Says, is Dele playing out of his best position? He should continue his role behind Kane in the middle and stay there. As he was under Poch, he should be told. What would you say to that, Philip?
Yeah, I mean, I had great hopes for Dele at the start of the season, and he started okay, but he's been a bit of a downward slope in the last couple of matches. Yeah, I don't think he's really a player that should be out on the wings. Yeah, he should be back. He should be in the middle. But I get the feeling he's not going to be involved tomorrow night, so it might be irrelevant, But I think he should. If he does play, he should be behind Kane or behind whoever the striker is. Again, I don't think the striker will be Kane tomorrow night. But but he just needs a spark to get him going. Like, he's the most dispossessed player in the Premiership, and that speaks volumes, really. He's just not. It's not working for him at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
No, 100%. I couldn't agree more. Look, I'll be honest with you. I think even if we put him back into that role, I don't think we're going to see any rewards from it. I don't. I think his best days are behind him. I think he's been left out of the team too long. He did come out and say he took his place for granted in the team, and look, it's come back to ultimately bite him in the ass. I think it's going to be a long time before we see the best of Dele Alli back attacking wise. What would you say, Jack?
I mean, Chris Peters, this is a really good question. I think it was even a question before on Can You Answer Me last week. Do we just have to accept that maybe, we have to wait for a new Dele, to blossom, a new sort of, role or new type of player, really, to come through. I would argue he's lost the pace entirely. It seems like, he's gained a bit of strength. He's got the new muscles and whatnot, but it seems like the pace is really gone, like, especially because people are saying, why are you playing Dele at left wing? Why are you playing Dele at left wing? I mean, to be honest, if you were talking about the old Dele, I don't think he probably would have done too poorly probably at the left wing, maybe the old Dele, but clearly the pace is gone. I would say he seems to enjoy, almost playing that center mid role. He likes to come back and get stuck in, which is, again, surprised I even said that out loud about Dele, but it just seems like he's becoming a new player, Chris Peters. But maybe against a team like Wolves, maybe for a Carabao Cup match, maybe moments like this could be that opportunity just to see whether Dele can, reinstigate or refine that old form. But I think the pace is gone. I think some of the skills are gone as well. Like, modern day number 10s, they can't give up the ball. They can't be dispossessed as much as Dele is as well. And that might be a bit harsh, Chris Peters, but if you ask me, I feel like the pace is gone and a lot of crucial things of the old Dele are gone. And we're just going to have to wait to see if a new Dele comes out.
No, 100%. I couldn't agree more. Look, Chris, really appreciate sparking the talking point, my man.
Good
Absolute
question.
Great super chat, and really appreciate the support, my man. Top man. Let's see who else we have here. Joseph Cattle's in the building. He says, I pay to see you guys wind them up in a watch along as they are getting thumped. Yeah, no, honestly, it'll be absolutely awesome. Honestly, that's what I dream of every night when I go to bed. When I wake up with a chubby, the missus goes, what were you dreaming about last night? And I tell her, sitting there, thumping Arsenal, winding up the ET and tie. So big yourself up, Joseph Cattle. Chris Peters says, and hello to all the Spurs family as well. Big yourself up. Who else have we got here? We've got It's Tony Hall. He says, hello, guys. Hope that we can get the win, get confidence into the squad, and get going into the North London Derby on Sunday. Come on, you Spurs. Couldn't agree more, my man. I'm absolutely pumped. Look, let's get the win tomorrow. Let's feed the Wolves. I know they're hungry. Let's feed them. And then let's, get on my express train right through the Emirates on Sunday. Tony. Big yourself up. Kane the long shot says, big up, lads. Big up, Kane the long shot. My man, I hope things are well with you. I hope things are well. We have Golden Cock says, just when we thought things couldn't get worse, the Ben & Jerry's isn't on offer at my shop anymore. That honestly, there's nothing worse than when you go shopping. The week before you've got yourself a nice good tub there. You go there the next week, you're thinking, yeah, I'm going to double up on this one, and then it's off offer, and you're just absolutely sick.
You can probably blame the Harris Army, Golden Cock. I mean, the Harris Army's grown big enough at this rate that they're probably actually buying it all ahead of time. Maybe even David actually probably bought all of your Ben & Jerry's, in the store. So maybe you have a couple of people in the Harris Army to blame because the Ben & Jerry's is going quick around here. It goes quick. And I know David at this rate, he practically just steals the whole freezer whenever he sees any Ben & Jerry's left. So I would say Golden Cock, you probably have a few people even on this panel to blame for that.
No, 100%. Big yourself up, Golden Cock. Look, what I would suggest is maybe spend a bit of that money on some tissues, and then, maybe then you can go back and get the Ben & Jerry's next week, or even just put in a simple word with the owner and just say, look, it's not acceptable. What's going on? I would. It's not right. It's wrong, actually. It's a crime. Dark Sun G says, of course I saw it. I'm glad Hwang is the ace for Wolves. What would you say to that, Jack? It was his first game.
I love that he said, of course I saw it. Yeah, sorry. Almost insulting his intelligence, actually, Dark Sun G. So I do apologize. I know you saw it. I know you probably even might even say the skill is even better than I even put it out there. But yeah, I do think he's actually quite the ace. I do think I'm actually quite sad maybe that he's not still in Germany under Jesse Marsch. who's that Leipzig coach over there. He actually had a lot of success with him over at Salzburg, but I would say, it seems like Hwang is actually built for the Premier League, very pacey, actually a very clinical finisher. I didn't even actually know he had those skills. I kind of more thought he was more of the finisher, Dark Sun G, than I really thought he had the skills like that. But seems like he's growing in confidence. Honestly, I'm quite delighted. Maybe that might be the new scout report even, but I would say it would be of another player. But if you do like to see that, Dark Sun G, please let me know. I'd be happy to do a Wang Hee-chan scout report. But absolutely happy to see him pulling off the skills in the way he does. But I'd really not like to see it happen against us, especially against one of our center backs. It'd be quite painful.
No, big up, Dark Sun G. Really appreciate the support, my man. Paro Miguel Escobardo's in the building. Big yourself up, Paro. Hope things are well.
Legend.
Yeah, Mr. Leo in the building says, come on, you Spurs. Absolutely love it. Big time Gerter. Love the name. Absolutely love it. Big yourself up. We have Exposure Channel says, love this channel. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Schools 157 can't bash Dele like that. The team isn't built around them. Yeah, no, look, but this is what I mean. Look, he fell so far out of favour. He admitted it himself. He took his place for granted. And at the end of the day, it got to the point where he let himself go that much that it was up to him to fit into a manager's system. The team is never going to be built around him. Why would you build a team around Dele Alli when you have Son and hopefully he came back for him? But I do get what you're saying. My man. Dark Sun G, again with another super chat. Big up, Dark Sun G. Really appreciate that, my man. He says, did you see the disgraceful FIFA ratings for Spurs? Yeah. How is Catastrophe and Easy Pass and Oscar 77 and 79, or between 77 and 79? They should be much lower. Tanganga and Rodin, underrated. Well, Jack, I haven't actually had a chance to see them. So, look, maybe you can speak to Dark Sun G here before we start firing some questions at Philip.
Lots to say here. I would say, David, I think we're probably have to do maybe a FIFA ratings breakdown, for some of these players. Yeah. I would say some of the ratings, some were given as a crime, either being completely underrated, some of our players, or in this case, just being completely overrated in the likes of Catastrophe and Easy Pass. Dark Sun G, I'm pretty sure you even saw some of the stats on these guys. I don't even know how they add up all those stats and they give them that 77 or that 79 rating. I mean, practically every single stat that they have is like below a 60. It's almost in the 40s, you would probably say. Like, we also have Dark Sun G. How do we have two fullbacks in FIFA that I think are both below like 60 pace or like something like that? I mean, it just shows like, I don't know what type of defenders we have at this rate. It's honestly becoming impossible to defend with Spurs, even in FIFA, Dark Sun G, at this rate, I would say. So I think Tanganga and Rodon, extremely underrated, of course. But yeah, I really thought the Easy Pass and Oscar and Catastrophe ratings were going to be all below 75. I thought they were all going to be below 75. So at the end of the day, it's nice to see Spurs with a bit higher rating, but all I can say is that, for those guys to get that type of rating is a crime.
No, it definitely is. It definitely is. Big up Dark Sun G. And look, make sure you tune in for Manager's FIFA 22 content when we drop it, my man. It's definitely good crack. Yeah, everyone's going to enjoy it. Absolutely love it. And Chris Peter says, thanks for answering, guys. Love David and Jack. No, look, we'll always answer. Don't worry about that, my man. Always answer. Don't worry about that. Big yourself up. And Chen Mehmet is in, says, if we play Kane, we lose. I'm going 4-0 Wolves. Are you a Wolves fan, Chen? Are you a Wolves fan?
Good pronunciation, Dave. Good pronunciation, too, actually. Well, clever, that one as well. Clever, that pronunciation. So, got to tip your hat. Tip the flat cap to Dave there on that one.
No, look, I'm all over. I'm brushing up on my language skills during the day, Jack. Don't worry about that. But look, let's get into it, guys. Of course, it is the Carabao Cup, third round, tie tomorrow. So we definitely don't want to be going out early. It is away at the stinking Molineux. It's a 7:45 p.m. kickoff. It is not actually live on the TV in the UK whatsoever. So sorry to disappoint you guys. We'll all be on some sort of streams tomorrow. But do hit me up. I'm sure I will find one, and I'm sure I can share it with you on Twitter, nowhere else. Watch along. Me and Jack are doing a watch along for that game tomorrow as well, guys. You can join us at 7:35 p.m. to watch the game with us. It should be an absolute cracker, and hopefully we win. Just some team news for you guys. For Wolves, Pedro Neto is out. Of course, he's out with the long-term injury. Johnny is still out, and Bueno, the young fullback, he is out. For Tottenham, it is confirmed that Stevie Bergwijn is out. Of course, he has a twisted ankle. He is in a protective boot. I know people have been asking about that, but he's in a protective boot so that he can do the upper body work without putting pressure on it, and that's why he's in the protective boot. Will he be back for the North London Derby? Nuno said he's not so sure, so we'll wait and see how long he's out for. Lucas, he of course is out with an ankle injury, confirmed out for tomorrow night. Again, not 100% sure whether he will be back for the North London derby. And of course, Session is out with a hamstring. And Jaffet Manhandler Tanganga returns after his suspension versus Chelsea. So we absolutely love to see that. But look, Philip, with Lucas and Bergwijn out, Son, of course, only back from injury, so I don't think any one of us wants to really risk him or play him tomorrow night. We want to keep him for them, them frauds across the road. So who would you play on the wings tomorrow, Philip?
Bryan Gil, just to be one of them anyway. Bryan Gil will probably take the Bergwijn role. I don't know. I'm struggling a wee bit with the other things. I just have to check on something there. Our under-21s are playing tonight, right? And 4 of the players will probably be involved tomorrow night after playing 90 minutes for the under-21s, which we lost, by the way, 1-0. Devine, McCanday, Clark, and Harvey White, and Niall John. 5 of them all played.
They all played 90.
Yeah. Now, I would have thought at least 2 or 3 of them would have been in the squad for tomorrow night. Maybe they still will be, but they're not going to play 90 minutes in 48 hours, 24 hours. That's for sure. So, no. I'm a bit surprised at that, the fact that they were involved tonight, because it's really left their options up front tomorrow looking very, very sparse.
Yeah.
Like, Kane and Son are not going to play. I nearly
do you not think Kane? I think he will. I think he do have to play.
I hate to say this, but in a way, I nearly don't want him to play tomorrow night, because the way things are going for us at the minute, he'll do his ankle in the first minute, and that's him gone.
Don't say that, Philip. Don't be saying that.
You know what I mean?
Already, yeah, I know.
It's the sort of thing, like, me, David. I love to be positive, but
I know
to be positive about Harry Kane just at this moment in time. I hope to God I'm wrong, and that he comes on and scores a hat-trick. But I just get the feeling he's going to be kept for the London derby. He's got to explode sometime. And what time better than playing the crowd down the road?
Yeah.
But I'm confused as to tomorrow night's team. I really am. I don't know what sort of forward line we're going to have.
Would you think maybe Hill will play maybe on one of the wings and maybe Lo Celso on the other?
Is this Lo Celso or his twin brother? Because it was a twin brother played on Sunday. I suppose, yeah. He was. I won't say.
Aren't you waiting for the real brother then to return at a certain point, Philip? Sorry to cut you off mid. But it seems like you keep saying that with the twin brother. That's all we've gotten maybe in the last few months is the twin brother. The real brother hasn't returned.
He's still on a beach in Croatia somewhere, I suppose, like, you're probably right. He will probably play on the other side. Because we don't really have anybody else, seeing as Jack Clark was in the under-21s and whatever, I'll tell you one thing, if I'd seen Dane Scarlett in that under-21 team tonight, I would have blew a gasket.
Yeah.
Because I think he's going to start tomorrow night. He's my choice to start tomorrow night. But it's a tricky one because, I know Wolves have been crap all season, but we've been crap the last 3 games, basically. So it's a team. Which team is less crapper tomorrow night will probably get through,
Yeah, no, 100%. So look, give us your front three, Philip. What would your front three be? And everybody else in the comments who's watching, make sure you give us your front three as well. Get them in. But Philip, who's your front three?
Oh, I'll go for Devine, Hill. Oh, do you know something? I'm struggling. Lo Celso will probably playing a wee bit behind. He's not a forward. I would have, I think one thing I would have said that Markande guy could have got a shout if he hadn't been playing tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think this would be right for him?
I think it would. God's sake. He's playing a pretty meaningless under-21 match tonight. And he could have been kept in reserve for tomorrow night, It's not as if we're absolutely busting over with players, knocking on the door to get in that team,
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay. I'll change my mind. I'll put Son in the team.
Oh, so why would you risk Son instead of Kane, Philip? Just given the fact that Son has been carrying his hamstring injury since the Wolves game. why are you risking Son instead of Kane? Give me the answer.
Yeah, I mean, I think Son is less prone to injury. I think he's, plus his mind is still at Spurs, which, to be honest with you, I'm feeling Harry Kane's just isn't at the moment. So I could be totally wrong, but I'll go for Hill, Scarlett, and Son.
Hill, Scarlett, and Son. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Well, look, Jack, same to you. Same to you. Like, is there anything you agree with or disagree with Philip on what he was saying as well?
It's really hard to pick the front three, Dave. Also, Weird Time TV's even, front three I thought was quite clever. It's actually quite hard to pick it. I would say the Sonny part, Philip, I'm just going to downright just disagree with. I think there's no way that he would be risked in this unless he might be on the bench, actually, just in case, something were to go wrong. But I do kind of agree with David in this case. Like, just does seem like maybe something that if we were to be able to squeak by without him, seems like something a manager would probably be willing to take a risk on. My front three then, Dave, maybe to answer your question, might be Hill, and I'm going to go with Harry Kane because I think he's just going to continue to be given the chances, and then maybe Scarlett comes on 60th, 70th minute, let's say, if Harry Kane isn't either doing anything or if Harry Kane has scored that hat trick that Philip is maybe hopeful for as well. I would say Scarlett comes on. So I'm going to say Hill, Harry Kane, and I'm going to go Dele and Tanguy instead of Gio for this one, Dave. Even though Gio probably will play just because he needs to be given game time, considering he's had a very unwanted and unneeded vacation in Croatia, I would say we're probably going to see Lo Celso, but I would like to see Bryan Gil, Harry Kane, and Tanguy/Dele of some sort.
Yeah,
maybe a combination of the two, actually. I think I'd like to see Dele and Tanguy on the field at the same time, actually.
Interesting. Look, my front three, look, for me, I think one of Kane or Son has to lead the line. Look, for me, and the reason why I say that is I definitely don't want us going out. And I think deep down, a lot of Spurs fans will be furious if we go out tomorrow night, especially this early rounds. You don't want to be going out. We're starving and crying out for trophies at Tottenham Hotspur. So for me, look, I think Kane, going on that logic, I think Kane and Son have to, one of them have to lead that line. And for me, I'm actually going to pick Harry Kane. I'm going to pick Harry Kane just purely because of Son's injury. I think right now, maybe Son is probably maybe just a bit above the red zone. And I think, if anybody, he would probably be more at risk than getting injured. And, judging by what we've seen so far, that for me, I think, look, I would bring him. I'll put him on the bench, that's for sure, because maybe you could take Kane off and bring Son on, vice versa. But look, with Harry Kane, look, don't get me wrong. I definitely, I echo what Philip was saying. With his ankles and the way Spurs' luck is at the minute, and I definitely echo that. And I hope to God we're not sitting here tomorrow going, "Why weren't we listening to Philip?" But look, for me, I just think we have to play him out wide. I think Bryan Gil is one option. I think he has to go out on the left-hand side. I think he will work well with Harry Kane. And then it's the right side for me. I'm not sure who I'd put out there. For me, I would actually like to see Dane Scarlett being given the opportunity.
Right.
Let's see what he can do. There's no point in keeping the kid around if you're not going to be playing him in games like this. But you also could say, for me, I think maybe you could bring on Lo Celso and play him out there either. But look, I'm going to go with Kane, Gil, and Lo Celso. I think that's what I'm going to go with. Maybe Dane Scarlett and Son coming off the bench later on in the game. That would be my front three. Everybody in the comment section, let us know what yours will be. Everyone, make sure I forgot to mention, make sure you do smash that like button on the stream, guys. Likes have been a little bit low lately. People aren't smashing it, so make sure you smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, guys, make sure you do smash that subscribe button as well. You'll get everything here from all the latest team news to watch-alongs to all debating all the hot topics, and sometimes debates can get very, very lively. So if you're into that, smash that subscribe button, guys. Do get over and check out theirishyid as well. It's the sister channel where we cover all things European football, covering the top 5 leagues and the Champions League. As well, look, if you feel like it, get your super chats in, guys. It is a great way to support the channel, and it also gets you to the very top of the queue, and we'll get to it straight away. I know not everybody can. I know it's a big bad world out there, and I will get everybody's comment up on screen anyway. But if you do want to skip the queue, super chat is the way to go. Dark Sun G says, Gil, Scarlett, and McCandy. Son, Lo Celso, Skip, White, Devine, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Reggie, Roden, Amole, Tanganga, Galini. That's his starting 11. What would you say to that, Jack?
I mean, considering the scouting report, and this is why we love Philip. He comes very prepared always, David. And you know, considering the scouting report we just got from Philip, it is kind of hard to imagine some of these players being played within a 24-hour period. You know, as much as we probably done that to Højbjerg, I would say, you know, we can't do that to younger folks. You know, it's just probably not even illegal at this rate. But if we have done that to Højbjerg, I would say, you know, so they probably could be capable of it. But I feel like, Dave, yeah, some of these guys, especially maybe Marcandi, I don't see playing, but maybe potentially Devine might show up, but Harvey White as well. It seems like played a full 90 minutes. So, you know, maybe those are the two I would say immediately probably we won't be seeing, which is Marcandi and Harvey White. But I really want to see Harvey White, Dave. I mean, just want to see a left-footed midfielder in there, you know, maybe a different one other than Gio Lo Celso's twin as a left-footed midfielder. So, be honest, I'm kind of quite saddened because the lineup that Dark Sun G picked here, this is actually the lineup that I would have loved to have seen. Actually, this would have been the one that actually would have got me a bit excited. We would have been able to see what some of these players are all about, which ones would perform, which ones maybe need a bit more time and whatnot. We'd probably be able to see that sensation Marcandi be able to come into the fray as well. So Dark Sun G, I would have loved to have seen this lineup. It just seems like because of the scouting report basically from Philip here that some of these options, including Harvey White and Marcandi, might not be available. But for the rest of it, I would try to do it as best we can. Do you know about Amole though, Philip? Did he play?
I don't think so. I'll just check here now. I don't think so.
So maybe then Dark Sun G, I would love to see this because Dark Sun G, as much as, you know, some people like to maybe kind of attack, especially me for my belief in the youth as well, Dark Sun G, I stand with you every time with that. I would love to see the youth in games like this just because I know they would definitely give something that certain players haven't, then that's for sure.
Sorry, which one did you say? Who are you asking about that?
Amole, it's that new up and coming, I think, center half for us.
He played 90 minutes tonight as well.
Yeah, so it seems like he can't do it then, Dark Sun G. So instead of Amole, it looks like it's going to have to be probably Sanchez, then instead of Amole. So it might be Roden and Sanchez back there with Tanganga and Galini and Reggie as well. But instead of Reggie, Dark Sun G, might have to warn you ahead of time. It might be Mr. Catastrophe, but, you know, don't shoot the messenger, Dark Sun G. Don't shoot the messenger, Dark Sun G. Don't shoot the messenger.
Dark Sun G, load up on some food now because I know you don't like to eat before games. So load up on a big pre-match meal tonight, my man. And, you know, just honestly, just brace yourself. It's happening. I can tell you now he's playing. Big up Dusty Townsend, Scarlett, Gil. And I'm sorry, but they all play better and more together when Kane is not on the team, in my opinion. No, fair play. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, man. That's what we want. Everyone do get your opinions in, guys. Dark Sun G also says my bench, three of the remaining choices from my starting 11: Kane, Tanguy, Piscozzi, Lloris, Romero, Royale. How is my bench? I think it's a good bench.
he loves to have a good bench. That's what's funny, Dave, is that he promotes the youth, he instigates the youth. You know, he brings them into the team, and then he leaves these a million super subs on the bench, which I will say, Dark Sun G is quite clever, especially for games like this. Because then, you know, when you think about game management, squad management, you know, things that have been maybe a bit foreign to Nuno recently, this is actually very clever squad management and very clever game management. So Dark Sun G, as per usual, I got to tip my flat cap to because he does like to think outside the box on these ones. And yeah, that's a pretty incredible bench. I must admit, that is a pretty incredible bench, especially Piscozzi, though. I would love to see. But again, Philip, did you see him maybe as part of that 90-minute crew as well?
You can certainly see him on the bench. I don't think he'll start, but I think he'll probably be on the bench.
I'd love to see our Estonian.
He didn't play in the under-21s tonight, so that would lead me to believe he's going to be involved tomorrow night.
Yeah. 100%. Look, let's rate his bench. Let's go one step further. Let's rate his bench. I'm going to give you 10 out of 10, my man.
I mean, Dave, you almost better than that. I mean, has there been a better bench, you know, for, I would say, as little money as that bench also costs when you do think about it? Like, you know, we saw what Manchester City maybe were just doing just now with, you know, what they're able to bring on, what Chelsea can bring on, you know, as well. So you do kind of consider, you know, I would still say for the price of that bench, Dark Sun G, that is an absolute world-class bench, in my opinion. So I'm going to go 11 out of 10 for that. 11. Raise it up to 11.
That's not a bench. That's a throne.
Yeah.
They'll have cushioned seats. It's not hard, cold benches. It's cushioned seats.
Recline, electric recliner. Yeah, I give it 12 out of 10.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it, Dark Sun G. Great bit of banter there as well. Absolutely love it. Let's see who else we have here. Derek Hutchison says, big up you guys. Big yourself up, my man. Who else have we got in the building? We have Zanuska Ramshunde. She's back. Big up Zanuska. Who else?
She likes Dele and Tanguy together. That's really I agree, Zanuska. I agree, Zanuska. Definitely like to see Dele and Tanguy together. Could work really well, especially against Wolves, hopefully. Really agree, Zanuska.
No, 100%. Big up Paul Whaley as well. Paul Whaley's in the building. Tottenham Tantrum, he says, big up Philip. Love hearing him talk. He's like the voice of reason. He definitely is. Big up Aaron Dove as well. Big up William McKenzie. He says, Tanganga versus Adama again. And very well could be, my man. And Kane the long shot says, a 4-3-2-1. Scarlett to start. Hill and Tanga as free attacking mids behind. Dele and Skip. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg in the midfield. Sessegnon, Rodon, Sanchez and Pascozzi with Galini in goals. No, look, I like the idea of the formation, the 4-3-2-1.
Sessegnon's hurt, though. Isn't Sessegnon still hurt?
Yeah, Sessegnon is out. Scarlett to start, yeah, no, 100%. I wouldn't mind seeing him start along with Gil. And Tanguy. Look, I think Tanguy needs to start. I think we need to build up his fitness. And I agree, in a free attacking midfield role with the boys in behind him of Skip and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg in the midfield. Sessegnon is out, so it is going to be Mr. Anonymous. Along, I'd say Rodon and Sanchez definitely, and Pascozzi. I think. Look, we do have Emerson and Tanganga to pick from, so I don't think Pascozzi will start. I do think it would be either Tanganga or Emerson, but we will ask the boys, who they want to play in their positions a bit later on. And Galini will be in goals, 100%. Great starting lineup, though. I have to say, I really like it, Kane, the long shot. Big yourself up, Jack. You want to say anything to Kane?
Just on Chris's behalf, just for Chris here and for Dark Sun G, Dave, I think you made a bit of, an error by, calling Mr. Catastrophe Mr. Anonymous. It's understandable, you're using old nicknames, to describe some of our, fullbacks, Dave, but that's all I'll say on Dark Sun G's behalf and Chris's behalf. You got to stay updated on the nicknames, Dave. Mr. Anonymous is not somebody, that we can call him that anymore. Remember, it's too kind of a nickname for that. So I would say, it's someone, unfortunately, that we're just going to have to make room for tomorrow. I would never make room for him, even, if we had 1 seat, 2 seats on the bus, Dave, I'd probably just put both my bags, on that seat, just say, listen, I'm saving a seat for someone else kind of situation. But I would argue, we're just going to have to deal with it somehow, Dave. And yeah, no more Mr. Anonymous, Dave. Just got to correct you there. Just for Dark Sun G and just for Chris.
And he also says, Dan, forgot about Sess. I can't see Stan seeing Davies again. Look, none of us can. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. The inevitable is we're resting Reguilon for the North London Derby. So just expect it to happen. But look, moving on. Well, actually, just quickly, Philip, if Lo Celso and Hill, say, are the wide men tomorrow, how important is it they take their chance this time? Because Lo Celso seems to get chance after chance after chance and doesn't really take it. And look, there's a lot of people already batting against Bryan Gil, saying, he's not good enough to be able to warrant the minutes. What would you say to them, Philip?
No, I think it's a bit harsh on Hill. He's a young guy, just come in, hasn't played the full league match yet. No, I give him time. He will come good. The guy's got skill to burn. He will come good. Lo Celso, a bit more worried about. He's hit with us long enough now to have bedded in and got his act together. He had a very, very good Copa America and with Argentina. He was nearly a first choice there. And yeah, he comes back to Spurs and he can't pass the ball straight. I don't know. Maybe he's been played out of position. Maybe he's got an issue with the manager. I just don't know. But he's while he's a Spurs player, we'll support him. But I think this is a pretty good make or break season for him. If he doesn't do the business this season, it's his 3rd or 4th season with us, and you cannot steal a living for that length of period without actually, do something exceptional for your club. And he hasn't really done it yet. With the odd little occasion, scoring with his first touch against City there last year, but you can't live on those scraps all the time. You've got to get out there and do it, So maybe tomorrow night is his night. But to be honest with you, I keep saying maybe tomorrow night is his night for a lot of players, and the trouble is, it never is.
Yeah,
It never is, with very rare exceptions. So I don't think I keep saying it. I'm going to be right sometime.
Yeah, no, 100%. Look, I fully agree with you there. We always say, this is their time, but and it never seems to happen. We're always sitting there after the game, left disappointed and frustrated by performances. But Jack, same to you. Look, how important is it that these guys start taking these chances and really start committing to the cause, because it benefits the first team in the long run as well, because it's competition for places, and then eventually they will get their run in the first team, but they have to be able to play these games to get the trust.
I mean, a lot of us Spurs fans have had this kind of list, Dave, that's been kind of accruing, and we kind of call it, they give him till January, give him till next season, kind of a situation where it's kind of make or break, last chance saloon, a lot of those phrases for some of these players. I think Lo Celso, every week with how little he has produced, is continuing to find himself very, maybe even high up on that list, practically, you might say. And so it just maybe comes to think, is he even is he part of the list, give him till January? He's maybe even starting to encroach upon that list, Dave, not even, give him till the rest of the season, at this rate. I would say he definitely has to perform soon. Hopefully Paratici is well aware of this list, Dave. Hopefully he has even a bit of his own, give him till January, give him till the rest of the season. And hopefully maybe he has a few swap deals in the line, potentially. I would say, Dave, at this rate, with how little Lo Celso has produced, if we were to go back to Real Betis and just say, listen, we'll take that 44-year-old Joaquin, he seems to produce more than even Lo Celso has, at the time. So I would say, I would just go back to Real Betis and just say, listen, we'll just trade you with some other player, see how that goes. And yeah, Dave, at this rate, I would say he's actually almost getting on my, give him till January list at this point. With a lot of other players, but I kind of had him originally at give him till next season, wait to see what he can do in a whole season. But with the way Philip has described him before, with I love that, twin cousin or, other brother kind of a, reference, I would say, he's starting to become, I might give him till January list. And hopefully Paratici thinks the same way with some of these players.
No, 100%.
Just to finish off on my thing about the Chelsea.
Yeah,
the stunt that he pulled going off to America, probably, although we'll never know whether it was against the club's without the club's permission or not. The stunt that he played, missing coming back and spending 10 days in Croatia, he should be busting a gut to get his reputation and get his name back there favorably amongst the fans.
I felt like he was trying hard against Chelsea. He just can't really produce anything maybe on the ball.
Hard, maybe. He was trying too hard. It didn't work, I mean... we play in white, not blue,
Yeah. But you know what? Do you know what with this guy, though? It's not that he doesn't try. I can never actually accuse Lo Celso of not trying, to be honest with you. It's just the quality. It's just the quality. It's a bit like Lamela. He gets a bit headless in the wrong moments when you're in the right moments in the game, and it's just really frustrating. It's just extremely frustrating. And look, I know a lot of people say his quality, this, that, and the other. It's all well and good doing Rabonas and whatever else in training and everything else. Produce something then against some of the teams these guys are playing against. Look, Lo Celso did play the first leg against Pacos de Ferreira, who's absolutely shit. You know what I mean? So, the thing is, it's all well and good, looking at training and highlight reels and, watching them on YouTube doing little step overs and everything else. But if they're not producing it in a Spurs jersey, then it's not good to us. It's not good to us. Look, with Bryan Gil, I just think this kid needs minutes. I'll be honest with you. I actually do think he just needs minutes. Yeah. I think he's going to be a superstar. I really do. I'm a big believer. And look, I know there's no stats or whatever else out there that back that up, but I don't care. At the end of the day, I think he's class. And I'm a believer, or a Hilver. I'm a Hilver. That's what I am.
Believer, Dave. Believer.
Believer, yeah.
Believer. You're a believer, right?
I'm a believer.
Definitely so, Dave.
Absolutely love it. Dark Sun G says, for your information, the game is 3:45 a.m. for me. So please know you know who. Well, look, first of all, it's commendable that you get up at this time, to watch the games and that, especially if you have work or whatever it is the next day. But the reason I could sit here and lie to you, Dark Sun G. But
even if you had a day off the next day, Dave, still, even if you had a day off the next day, sorry, continue, Dave, but still, that caused me pain.
But look, even if I could sit here and lie to you, but I'm not going to do that, Dark Sun G. I would expect, I think 100% Davies will play, and maybe 70% Harry Winks might find himself in that midfield. And I'm just gonna say it now so that you have as much time to get over it as I do, Dark Song G. But big yourself up. Philip, what would you say to all the guys? Because me and Jack are always saying to all the guys around the world that are getting up at ridiculous hours to watch our clubs, it's incredible. But what would you say to them? Because sometimes, they feel left out. Sometimes people say maybe they're not as much of a fan as the club. But, we don't know how lucky we have been able to watch them at acceptable times compared to some of these guys around the world.
Oh, they are true white fans.
Fanatics.
They are. I mean, I take my hat off to them. They, to get up at 4:00 in the morning. I remember one trip I was on years ago in Malaysia, and
you're a well-traveled man. You've been everywhere.
A few places. A 7:45 kickoff was the same time. I think it was 3:45 in the morning, and the missus nearly killed me because I got up to watch it. We were on holidays.
Because you heard the alarm. Did you set an alarm and everything? Yeah.
No, funny enough, I have an alarm built into my head. If I have to wake up, I'll wake up at a certain time.
Wow.
And, I think these guys are an absolute credit. They deserve they deserve better than they're getting at the minute. And take my answer is fair play.
No, fair play. And Jack, you want to say anything to start, Dark Sanji?
No, I mean, all of our fans, Dave, in Korea or anywhere else in Eastern Asia or Southern Asia, and then also our fans in Oceania region of, Australia and New Zealand as well, I would say. I mean, it's just ridiculous what they have to go through, especially when, I feel like this is why Dark Sun G stays so updated on the nicknames, David, just because he has to wake up at these ungodly hours. So if he has to watch them, he might as well just, make sure he knows and reminds himself every single day how much he detests these players, you would say, Dave. And that's why I've said this to you before, Dave. I'm almost positive that maybe Dark Sun G, detests the likes of Catastrophe and whatnot even more than you do. I might even go that far and say that I think they cause him even more pain than they cause you, I would say, Dave, just because imagine waking up at that time and having to watch Catastrophe playing on the field, especially if he were to cause another catastrophe, another capitulation for the squad. Dark Sun G, again, I really hope you're eating early. Hope you just have something maybe saved up, the night before, so you don't have to consider, what you might be eating the next day, because honestly, it'd be sick to my stomach thinking about, waking up at that time and then having to watch those players as well. Even further evidence to why we need better investment, I would say, hopefully in the near future, just because so we can get these players out of the squad so we cause Dark Sun G fewer pain.
100%. Big up Dark Sun G, my man. Tottenham Tantrum says, Hill needs time to come good. As I said, we all need to back Nuno. I will always be Tottenham till I die. Well, look, Philip, we know Dermot is massive fans of us, but he's an absolute huge fan of you. So we're going to make his day and let you answer him.
Yes, Dermot. I totally agree. I mean, Hill does need time. I mean, he's 20 years of age. He's after playing in the Olympics. He's been away again. Didn't have a proper pre-season. He came straight more or less back from the Olympics to us, and he's expected to hit the ground running. Well, very few players will do that. So I think it's an absolute certainty that this time next year we'll be raving about this guy's performance. Hopefully, we don't have to wait that long. But give him the season to bed in, and next season watch him go, because he is poetry when he gets going down that wing. And Feb, I totally agree with you, Dermot. He is, and we will back Nuno. We'll back the manager till he's no longer the manager. And unfortunately, it happens with too much regularity at Spurs. So let's hope Nuno gets the chance to do what he's obviously trying to do, but not had the time, or the competitions during the summer got in the way of his preparations big time. As I said last night, he's probably never had that whole squad together for more than a day. So, so now from now on, we should expect to see an improvement as his methods get across to the players. That's the way I hope it's going to go anyway. If it doesn't go that way, then, well, we'll have to wait and see. But I think we'll see a big improvement over the next month.
No, 100%. Well, look, Dermot, an expert answer there from the voice of reason. Look, I do think Nuno. I agree with you. I think Hill will come good. Look, I actually liken him to Luka Modric. I think he definitely has all the ability to be that good. Yeah, I really do. And look, we do have to give Nuno time. We do have to give him the time. Jack, do you want to say anything quickly to Dermot here?
Yeah, I was about to go on a major Bryan Gil rant, I would say,
No,
for
go
people who
on.
doubt. I was
Go
going to
on.
say, maybe I'll just summarize it. If they
I
look
want
at
to
our
see it.
scout
No,
report,
go on it. I want to see it. Go on it.
Dave, they looked at our scout report. I mean, how could you look at that scout report that we released on Bryan Gil and not think that this guy could be, somebody for the future as well, Dave? When you consider, I mean, how much has who has really achieved what Bryan Gil has achieved before the age of 20? I could tell you, I absolutely achieved less than zilch by that age. I probably actually was doing more harm than good by the age of 20. I would probably argue then, Dave. And then as well, when you even look at that highlight reel package, I mean, who looks at that highlight reel package and doesn't say he'll Messi? Who doesn't say they're he'll lever? Who doesn't say that, this is practically the next best thing since white bread? I mean, honestly, Dave, you really look at it. You really look at all those three things. The stats from that he had as a 19-year-old for a relegation side, and again, a relegation La Liga side, which a lot of people love to rip on La Liga, which I do as well, believe that. But if you're then talking about what you might say is almost practically agricultural workers that he was playing alongside in La Liga at the bottom of the table, what he was able to produce there in terms of stats, in terms of just being able to be a creative threat over there is quite impressive again for his age. Very impressive. Another reason as well is anybody who isn't connected to Spurs, anybody who doesn't have any interest whatsoever in Spurs has said that this has been an unbelievable signing for the future. Of course, maybe that's the stress, signing for the future. I still think he can still produce plenty, this season. Eric Lamela only played 700 minutes last season in Premier League. So if I think that Bryan Gil can produce more than Eric Lamela did in 700 minutes, I probably would take that bet right now. And then again, he still has, what is it, Dave? 8, 9, 10 years to catch up to whatever Eric Lamela even accomplished at this club.
Yeah.
So I would say, he's got plenty of time on his side as well. Again, I would reference that scout report. Just go back in the archives of Irish Hotspur, look at all those stats, look at how I broke it down. And then again, Dave, if you don't look at that highlight reel from AS Comps or Brazil Scout or wherever you saw that highlight reel and not have to go to the bathroom and have to clean yourself up after, Dave, I don't know if you're a football fan at all.
Absolutely. Do you know what? I've been trying to get this out of Jack for a while now, Philip. It's great, isn't it?
That was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
It's good to see. It's good to see. There you are, Dermot. Thank you so much for the talking point, my man. Really appreciate it and for bringing the best out of Jack. Jeez, Jack, the views rose as you were going on that. They're absolutely loving it. Facts after facts after facts. This is what I want to see more of.
Just go back. Maybe, Dave, we'll just have to put like one of those cards, in the middle of this. Have to go. We don't edit these too much, Dave, but I would say we just have to put a card in there. Just look at the scout report that we released on the guy. And again, just look at the highlight reels. How do you watch that highlight reel and not believe in that guy's ability? I mean, again, he was just absolutely just taking every man's life out there. It's practically illegal what he was doing against some of those players. So I would just say, I don't know why people would like to shoot him down. Again, why are we shooting down new signings again? Why do we do that? Why do we do that as fans? It doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know, my man, but big up. Absolutely loved it. And big up Dermot for the support. Paul Markey's in. He says, we have to play Lo Celso at number 6 as he did for Betis and does for Argentina. Not wide right as Spurs play him. Well, Philip, we'll get your answer on this and we'll get Jack's answer on it. So, Philip, we'll take yours first. What would you say to Paul Markey?
Yeah, well, I mean, he like watching him play for Argentina, he does seem to do his better work inside rather than out on the wings. So, he played. I think he played centre against Paco Ferreira, didn't he? He played in the centre that game.
Yeah.
Now, he didn't do it against a team of farmers like them. So, this is the quandary. He did it for his previous club. He did it for Argentina. So maybe we are, by sticking him out on the left there, we are playing him out of position.
Yeah.
I did mention once he could be the creative spark that we were missing by putting him in the middle. So, maybe give him a shot at that. But then again, is he going to get in the way if Ndombele plays? Are the two of them going to start running into each other? Trying to do the same job. So I really don't know what the solution for the Celso is. Tomorrow night, I'd probably like to see him play in the forward, the middle of the three forward midfield players. Yeah. Stick him in there, and let's see if he can pick a pass. Because not to a gold shirt now, to a white shirt. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, he's undoubtedly got a load of talent. I mean, Argentinian players are gifted technically, but they just don't always produce it on the pitch. And somebody's put them on the comments there. He doesn't have Messi in front of him playing for Spurs.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
He look good, But no, I would. He's. I have to say, I loved Eric Lamela. I have to say,
I loved his temperament, Philip.
He was the most infuriating player you could see. You knew he was going to give the ball away or not pick a pass. But by God, every time he went on that pitch, he gave 110%.
Master of the dark arts. We love that over here as well.
I'm in a pool syndicate here, and they used to take a bet every week what minute Lamela would get booked in. It was just so he was guaranteed a booking every other match nearly.
I think they get a craving. Actually, they actually start to realize, it's like a timer, an expiration. I think Højbjerg does it 80th minute. Sometimes Højbjerg will be like, oh God, how do I not have a yellow at this stage? And then he'll just go and just 2-foot somebody just to get it.
I love the Mela's attitude, and okay, he had 700 minutes last season, which wasn't a lot, but he won goal of the season for us. So I'll give hats off to him for that. But anyway, he's not our player anymore, so it doesn't really count at this stage. Let's hope that Chelsea can be one of the many players that absolutely shakes off the lethargy they've been showing over the last few weeks and gives us something to really, really be positive about from tomorrow night on.
100%. I couldn't agree more. Jack, what would you say to Paul Markey?
I was kind of aware that he was more of a number 10 when he played for Betis, but I would say if you were to maybe play, I kind of agree with it. Seems like Lo Celso and Tanguy practically get in each other's way, or it's even possibly the case that they're almost playing the opposite positions of what they should be playing, where Lo Celso is being played a bit further forward when Tanguy should be being played a bit further forward. And then as well, maybe then Gio should be more that number 6 that Paul Markey's talking about. So Paul Markey, do correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought he played more of a number 10 for Real Betis during that spectacular season he had. But then I would actually agree with Paul and then say that I think he might actually be much better as a number 10 instead of maybe where he plays a bit further forward. And I would then put Tanguy a bit further forward and let Tanguy do whatever he wants to do up there instead of Gio, and let Gio be the one to work harder back there for the squad, I would say. But yeah, I kind of agree with Philip. At the same time, they do seem to get in each other's way. But that also just could be because Tanguy wants to be playing where Gio is, and then Gio wants to be playing where Tanguy is. It might just be that case as well. So do let me know, Paul Markey. I would say if I were to play anybody wide right, even though I know Gio is a left-footed player, I would still just put Tanguy up there because I'd be happy to let him walk around over there instead of, in the middle of our field.
No, 100%. But there you are. Big up Paul Markey. Really appreciate the support, my man. And look, hopefully he gets a chance where you wanted to play Paul Markey, and he can shine and show him why show us why so many people love him. Big up Paul Markey. Really appreciate the support, my man. Top man. And Dark Song G, before I move on to the next question for you guys. Again, Jack, I think this is more for you to nerd out with him again. He says if Wang scores down catastrophe side, I will have mixed feelings. I will be happy as a Korean, but I would be raging as a Spurs fan. What a huge dilemma he's in, Jack. Can you help him?
To be honest, Dark Sun G, I think you guys are also quite humble over there with all the talent that you guys having coming out. Believe me, from Liga to Bundesliga to La Liga to the Premier League, the talent that is coming out of South Korea at the moment is unbelievable, I must admit. And so I would say, maybe compared to the Americans over here who maybe like to hype up any single chance that we have at, having a good player, I would say you guys have been quite humble over there with what, talents you've been producing. So I kind of am with you. I think it is a bit of a dilemma, to maybe see, someone that is going to be a huge talent for your country, maybe score against your club. But I don't really have much help for you, I would say, Dark Sun G. I think you should be happy that, your national team is going to be improving significantly. When you come up against those games against whatever it was, Iran, Uzbekistan, at points, you should just know that maybe you now have a much better squad, in order to get some of these results. And also a bit more pressure on that manager that you're very frustrated with over there in the South Korean squad, because I know you think he should be doing a lot better with the talent that he has. All I can say is, Dark Sun G, just maybe pray that Wang Hee-chan, he's probably going to play, so that's what makes it hard. Just pray Wang Hee-chan just doesn't take maybe the scoring duct that he'll have against Spurs to heart, and just let him maybe just bang it all in against the scum, or maybe the blue scum, or the oil scum, whatever it may be. I would just say that, Dark Sun G, let's just hope that he takes maybe the Spurs game, gets a bit frustrated, from our defense, and then maybe just absolutely unleashes on everybody else after that. That's what I would hope for. But I think you have so much talent coming out of your country at the moment that it's in a way, it's a good dilemma to have, Dark Sun G. I must admit, it is a bit of a good dilemma because I know you guys have been missing that talent for some time.
What I will say, Dark Song G, is look, I remember Aaron Connolly scoring against Tottenham for Brighton, and I was absolutely ready to get the ball over and give him a 6-1-9. I'm not messing. I was absolutely gutted. What I will say to you is, look, I know, you love and pride for the country. I do too. But look, when it comes to Tottenham, we don't want your fellow countryman scoring, my man. We don't want him scoring. So look, look.
No heel chops, Mr. Wang Hee-chan. No more heel chops against us, I would say, because those heel chops look deadly, Dave.
No, they do. But look, if he does score, you know what I mean? At least he's, flying the flag for you and everything else, but we don't want him to score. That's for sure, Dark Song J. We don't want you ripping up your pillows and the duck feathers all over the room, and then the wife or the mother's asking, what's going on here? And you're just like, we lost and Huang scored. You know what I mean? That's the last thing you want. And, she's going like, what's the problem? Then you have to explain it to her, lad. You definitely don't want that. But big up, Dark Song J. You really appreciate the support, my man. Everyone else, make sure you smash that like button. 115 people watching right now. We did start a bit early today, guys. Anyone that's tuning in that was usually expecting to start at normal time, make sure you are smashing that like button, guys. We want to end off with over 100 likes. Make sure you smash that subscribe button if you're new. For all Spurs content, previews, reviews, watch-alongs, it's here. This is your home. Smash that subscribe button. Again, check out flatcapeurotalk, top 5 leagues around Europe. It's all covered by our man Jack here. And guys, you want to skip the queue. Look, like I was saying yesterday at buffet, I ain't waiting. I'm flipping the €2 down the line. I'm getting ahead. So guys, you can skip the queue here by sending in a super chat and I'll get straight to your comment. And it's just a great way to support myself and Jack. But look, next question. So Philip, look, there's a lot of scrutiny on Nuno, from the fan base at the minute. And look, my opinion is if we go to Wolves tomorrow, Philip, and we get knocked out, a lot of fans are going to be in upheaval. They're like, there'll be uproar. They'll be pissed off at and we know they will. But look, what would you do if you were Nuno? Bearing in mind there is a North London derby right around the corner. Would you go with a full strength team, Philip, as full strength as you can, and get through this game and get onto the North London derby? It's basically saying, look, they're professional footballers. They're paid an awful lot of money. They should be able to manage a couple of games in a week. Get them out there tomorrow. Get them to turn it around and get out there against Arsenal. Or would you go with a fringe squad and rest players for the big one at the weekend?
I think it's got to be a mixture of both. I don't think the likes of Ndombele could play 3 matches in a week. I mean, it's hard enough to say you can't even play 1 match in a week, possibly. But I think we've got like, okay. I'll go back to the first game against Paco Ferreira. He messed that one up badly by having none of the senior players, even in the squad, to come on and rescue things when we were losing. It's going to be a mixture tomorrow night, and I hope it's a strongish mixture. I hope it's going to be maybe 6 regulars and 5 not so regulars. But unfortunately, 3 of those not so regulars are probably going to be Doherty, Winks, and Davies. That's my reading of it. I think they're the guys that are going to play this type of game. If we go out with a weak team, we'll get hammered. I'm watching Liverpool. Liverpool tonight have gone out with a fairly weak team, and they're 3-0 up. And Norwich haven't put a glove on them.
Yeah.
So, Wolves, I think, are going to have a point to prove tomorrow night. Like we beat them at their own place, maybe slightly fortuitously. They haven't had a good start to the season. They're going to see tomorrow night as a great opportunity to get a scalp. So we've got to be very careful tomorrow night. It's gone back to Nuno's old club. You always want to beat your old manager. That's another incentive. Doherty is hopefully going to be buoyed up by going back to his old club where he played some decent football, which is a pity he forgot to bring it with him when he came to Spurs. And, I think it's going to have to go reasonably strong, but not that strong that we leave ourselves vulnerable for Sunday. Because, as I said maybe a week ago, if we lose the 3 games this week, Chelsea, Wolves and Arsenal, the pressure is really going to mount on Nuno. Now, I don't think Levy is going to do anything. I think he will look back and see what Pochettino did in his first few games, and he stuck with him, and that came good. It's what I said a few minutes ago. Over the next month, as he gets a chance to get the squad more tuned into his methods, we will see a big improvement. And I'm hoping that starts tomorrow night, because the team talk he gave after Sunday was more of the first half, lads, but forget about what we did in the second half, because that was abject. If they go out and play in the first, like they did in the first half against Chelsea tomorrow night, we would have beaten most teams in the league that particular way. But Chelsea are a street ahead of us at the minute, and they reeled us in the second half. So I don't want to see that happen again. I don't think it'll happen against Arsenal, because I don't think Arsenal are. I think we're a better team than Arsenal. We have a better squad than Arsenal. But my only worry there is they've had a couple of good results, but we've had a couple of bad ones, so it can kind of even out. So tomorrow night needs to be a win, like to give the confidence to go into Sunday and beat the living daylights out of them.
Yeah, no, 100%. I couldn't agree more. And Paul Markey with the super chat says Gio tackles and can carry. And yes, he wants Ndombele at number 10. Yeah, no, 100%. I couldn't agree more. Look, if Gio can do the work behind him, whoever it be, Skip or Højbjerg, you can unleash Dele Alli or not that fraud. Ronald McDombele. You can unleash him in that number 10. And, hopefully he can do something. Because, look, in fairness, it was Ndombele for the first 45 minutes and Ronald McDombele for the second 45 minutes. Or for the second, 15, 20 minutes, whatever he lasted before he was, thinking, splash water on me quick, guys. I can't keep up. I can't cope. But, no, look, hopefully he can. I do think we'll see. Look, I think it's actually gotten to a point where you're either going to have to drop Kane back to play in that number 10 role, or you're going to have to just get Ndombele out there and play him as much as possible till the guy can get some air into his lungs and run for more than 45 minutes. But big up, Paul Mark. You really appreciate the super chat, my man. Top man. But Jack, same question to you as I was asking Philip there,
Yeah, I was just going to say maybe in that case, I would probably, Dave, some of these players, I would argue maybe that Gio, Tanguy, some of these players, Dave, I don't really think that, I don't know. I just feel like I kind of agree with Philip. I think with Wolves, it's going to be much more of a test than maybe we would like it. It almost, I was thinking, it kind of even got a bit distracted with kind of thinking maybe Nuno's had a bit tougher matchups, actually tougher fixtures than maybe we give him credit for, to a degree. The fact that, some of the missing players, but then you kind of think about with Watford, it was, Danny Rose and Moussa Sissoko, coming into the fray, they thought they wanted to prove something at Wolves. Bruno Laga has actually produced fantastic football over there. It's just been no results at all for them. And you think eventually they're going to have to get one. And then as well, you think kind of consider, of course, the Chelsea match and whatnot as well. It's just all been actually a bit tougher. And then his Europa Conference League match, Dave, we even looked at the Europa Conference League. Rennes are actually weirdly kind of like the third or fourth probably favorite to even win that tournament. So you just think that's his first match is against Rennes as well. It's just all maybe a bit tougher than I would argue. So I would actually say, Dave, you actually put out a much stronger squad than maybe we're probably comfortable with. And maybe even to go back to Paul Markey, I know I'm kind of avoiding the question a bit, but to go back to Paul Markey's decision, Dave, I kind of agree with him. I think actually Tanguy and Gio actually should switch, and he's correcting us, Dave, and actually giving us a bit of that Real Betis scouting report by saying he actually did have that spectacular season from the number 6 position, Dave. So I would actually argue maybe we just bring Gio back into the fray as some sort of ball-carrying midfielder. We've seen him carry the ball a few times out of bounds, but hopefully maybe if he's more positioned in the center of the park, he won't need to be, out on the wings, Dave. But yeah, I would just say I think you do go with a much stronger squad than maybe we're comfortable with. Maybe that will hurt us for the North London derby, but I would say this is going to be a very tough game. And I think, like maybe Philip was even saying earlier, we could easily slip here. We could easily overestimate maybe the opposition here. And we have to realize that Bruno Laga has produced some fantastic football, I would say so far, but has had no results from it. And even, the Brentford performance I just saw recently, people are praising Brentford. Great. And Mbeumo and Ivan Toney and whatnot, they did have a good performance, but I would say towards the end there, it was just like Wolves just absolutely dominating them in every way whatsoever. It's just if Adama Traore knew what maybe a pass to one of his own teammates was, you would kind of think that, they would actually have produced something, because I would say Brentford, in my opinion, despite how great Brentford have been this season, I thought they were actually quite lucky to get something out of that game, because as much as it was a 2-0 victory, like Wolves had 90% possession or something like that, like in the last 30 minutes or something like that. It really was. They were just sitting fully back. And I could see then that to a degree happening to us. Bruno Laga has actually produced some decent football over there. He's getting the best out of Traore, which is no productivity at all. But I would say is, to the best of his ability, he's getting a lot of Traore. He's getting a lot of some of these players. It seemed like Jimenez is kind of coming back into it. Wang Hee-chan, of course, wants to prove something. So I think, with Philip, Dave, I think we could easily slip here against Wolves. And it's just another unfortunate, very tough game, for for Nuno. I would like it to be a Colchester, a Wickham, or whatnot, for this one, but it's going to be Wolves. And I think, Dave, they're going to absolutely go for this one. So I say you almost put out maybe the best squad that you really can, maybe bar Harry Kane or bar Sonny or whatnot, and bar Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Maybe our big three is what you leave out, I would say, Dave, to answer it.
Yeah, no, interesting. Look, for me, do you know what, just quickly, for me, I think it's a very hard one for Nuno to navigate. I think he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. I think He's in one of them situations. Look, for me, I just think, it's a simple solution for Nuno. Does he think he has the squad? Does he think he has the players to be able to carry the cups in the Carabao Cup and the Europa Conference League and the Premier League up until January? If he does, well then for me, I think it's a simple question. You can't play a Winks, you can't play Davies, you can't play a Doherty, all in the same team at least. So for me, I think if he does think he has to go for as strong a squad as he possibly can, maybe with the exception of resting the Son and Højbjerg, but not make too many changes to that starting team. Look, if he doesn't, well then for me, you throw out the fringe players and give them a chance to try and showcase what they can do, and hopefully they can do it. But look, moving on, interestingly, I have a bit of a quote from Nuno's press conference here today, and it is about the Harry Kane saga. And it's basically, he was asked about Kane dropping deep, and what he answered is, and again, you have to read in between what Nuno's saying because you can't just give it direct. He says, we have to find the process inside the team. We have to find the best way to win. In the previous game, Harry started high on the left. Things went good. We just couldn't score. We are working to find solutions, reinvent and recreate situations which can improve our football. And look, I'll maybe go back to you, Jack, with this one and then get Philip's thoughts after.
Yeah.
But listening to them, look, I highlight the words recreate, reinvent, find solutions, working hard to find the solutions. Jack, does that suggest to you that Nuno is actually struggling to fit Harry Kane into the system? But as well, not only do we like to, get the answers, but Jack, as you know, we like to try and find solutions or try and give solutions. So what would your solution be then to get him back in the team and get it back working?
I think I'll quickly answer first. It's a fantastic question, Dave, and I think you should read into those. You should read into that quote. You shouldn't just read it plainly. I think he is. It's almost code, to a degree. Sometimes with these managers, they're trying to be, as diplomatic as possible with their answers. But like with every diplomat, they all mean, a different thing by probably what they're saying. With that, they're trying to say another thing while maybe pretending that it's not a big deal. So I would say, Dave, I think he was preparing for life without Harry Kane. I think he probably had to, find ways, find solutions, to create, maybe some sort of goals, create some sort of attacking system, some sort of attacking trio that didn't involve Harry Kane. And it might be because he knows that Harry Kane is going in January, or maybe he knows he's going next summer, or even he might know that Harry Kane possibly could have downed tools potentially as well. And that's what he's probably considering. But then, Dave, considering that maybe I would say Nuno, I think it's confirmed that Nuno was preparing for life without Harry Kane to a degree. I think that's been proved. But maybe then now that he's had to maybe deal with Harry Kane, which I would say is a bit of a luxury, to have to deal with Harry Kane. I can't believe I said that out loud. You then probably would say, Dave, whatever the Athletic article was describing today in terms of, what he did right in the first half, maybe against certain teams, bringing Harry Kane a bit wider left, maybe bringing him, because do you just put Harry Kane at number 10? I would say no. But I think what you need to do is you need to find ways that if Harry Kane wants to be that creative number 10, if he wants to be that creative number 9, so be it. Then I would say you have to find a way where he was doing exactly what he was doing against Chelsea, because what happened was he was able to cut inside every single time, and he had open grass, open space every single time to play the players like Son, play players maybe like Bryan Gil, play players like Lucas potentially, play players like even if Dane Scarlett were playing next to him, you would think that he would be able to at least find that pass. Even as well, I would say Harry Kane, even when it's not there, he loves to force it. He loves to, even still thread that ball in behind, even if it's not even there. And it just shows that what maybe Nuno was doing, which is practically playing a two-man front, playing two players up top, and allowing Harry Kane to basically drop or move maybe further away from the middle. If he moves away from the middle, that means when he picks up the ball, he can go at a player and be able to then cut inside and find tons of green grass to play it in behind, or, unleash a shot from distance, or just even switch play as well. He's also plenty capable of being able to switch play. So Dave, I would say what you do is you actually, maybe when you do Harry Kane, you probably might have to play him alongside another sort of forward or striker that actually is more or less playing in the middle. And Harry Kane's actually doing maybe what he did against Chelsea, which is kind of drifting, not even deep, because a lot of people are getting frustrated with him drifting deep, but maybe have him drift wide or drift a bit short, inside, whatever it may be. But I think if you have him drift wide, he'll be able to find that green grass and play balls in behind like he loves to.
Interesting. Good solid answer there, Jack, my man. Good solid answer. I appreciate that. Just before we get on to Philip, just welcome a few more people in. Ian Ferguson says, evening fellas, big up Ian. I hope things are well, my man. Old Soul says, if it's Nuno keeping Kane in the midfield and bad on him, Kane needs to stay up front. 100%. Yeah. Alex Sabanda says, we cannot afford to lose this game. If we lose tomorrow on Sunday against Wolves and Arsenal, Nuno will be walking on sharp razor blades. That's for sure. As Anuska says, when we play Wolves in the Premier League, it was their poor finishing really that helped us win. If we can go stronger at the back, we could ride out the game. Arsenal are weaker at the back. So got used to that. Yeah, 100%. That is a fair point. Fair play, Sanuska. And Paul Markey with the super chat says, Graham Souness said it. Harry holding hands with midfielders is useless. He has to be up front to receive the ball and score. Well, look, Philip. Look, you maybe you can answer this and maybe answer the question at the same time. Basically, look, like I was saying to Jack, it does seem like from what Nuno's words were that he was probably preparing for life without him. He's now struggling to make the system adapt and maybe work around Harry Kane. And what would you do to get him in? Would you agree with what Graham Souness has said here and what Paul Markey has said here?
Well, first of all, if Nuno was expecting to play the season without Harry Kane, he should be down on his knees thanking his lucky stars he still has him, for one thing, right?
Yeah.
Second, look back at last season. Harry won the Golden Boot and he won the most assists. Now, he scored a lot more goals than he made. So what does that tell you? He's a striker. Striker first, and he's a creative midfielder second. It just came as a bonus last season that himself and Son clicked so well. Graham Souness, I don't often agree with Graham Souness. I think he's an absolute arsehole, but he's right here. Harry Kane should be up front, scoring goals. Probably it's because we don't have anybody creating the chances for him, that he's dropping back and trying to do it all himself. Because if he had a Christian Eriksen or someone, putting balls on a plate for me, you wouldn't see him outside the penalty area when we're attacking, Yeah. So I think Souness is right. But the problem is Son doesn't play through the middle. Son plays out coming in from the sides. We didn't buy a replacement backup striker, and that's what's coming back to bite us now a wee bit. Okay, we had Vinicius last season. We had Llorente before that. They did a job up to a point.
Jeez, don't get me started on Vinicius. I have all the stats in the world.
Well, he scored a hat-trick against Marine or something. That was about it. But anyway,
out of his 10 goals, yeah.
Yeah, Harry is a goal scorer, as I said. Yeah. He's this season. He's now so far behind the likes of Salah and Ronaldo. He's playing catch up, and I don't think he'll do it this season. Not unless he gets his mind back in the right place. But what we need for Harry Kane tomorrow, if he plays tomorrow, we need him up front, staying up front, and Lo Celso and Ndombele, whoever is in the midfield, to try and pick his runs, and let's get him back on the goal scoring charts. I think Harry scores once he gets up and running. Yeah. It'll be the old Harry Kane we'll see back in a couple of weeks' time. But the longer he goes on without getting a goal in the league, the worse it's going to get. His confidence is going to go down. His mind is going to go wandering again, and he's not just going to be the player that we know he is, and hope to God he will be again.
Yeah.
David, can I ask you a question on this from Paul Markey? Yeah. Are you even surprised Graham Souness even said this, though? I mean, probably Graham Souness would take any opportunity, to slam on Harry Kane. And I even heard Alan Shearer as well was saying, a version of this as well.
Yeah, no, look, first of all, Souness, I agree with Philip. I think he's actually a nitwit, to be honest with you. I think he's just a twerp. For me, look, every chance he gets, he takes a dig at Tottenham. Look, I listen to Roy Keane more than what I listen to Graham Souness. Roy Keane was saying, we need to take him off, and I agree with that. But Graham Souness, look, for once, I actually do think I agree with him. He does have to be up the front, to receive the ball and score. But the thing is, if Nuno has a system and he doesn't have a plan B, shall we say, he has to try and find a way of fitting Kane into that system. Look, for me, it worked best. And it looked like it worked best when you had a Lucas, Bergwijn and Son. And I never thought I would say that. But when I've looked into it, the reason why it works best is because they're able to pick up the ball and create their own chances between the three of them with their pace and being able to knock the ball by. They're a bit quicker than Harry Kane. With Harry Kane, it's different. You're looking to get the ball into him. He's not going to be able to get on the ball, turn, skin 3 or 4 players or skin a player and get down the wing. It's not his sort of game. And nor should you be asking him to do that. Look, if Nuno doesn't have a plan B, for me, drop him deep, play him in a cam, and get Son up top, and get players out wide or whatever else. Because look, the way it is at the minute, we're lacking creativity, and I think you go to who's the 2 best people at creating chances in the team, Kane and Ndombele. So one of them now has to play in that position. I would rather see Ndombele play there and Harry Kane up top, but. Do you know what it is? I agree with Philip. I actually think once he gets a goal, I think all this Kane stuff is going to go out the window and he's going to go on a run. And people will be sitting there scratching their heads, what we're talking about. But look, for me, what I think we should do for Harry Kane is keep him up front. But put the Ndombele in a number 10. That means you can keep Kane up front because then the biggest thing with Harry Kane right now, and I firmly believe why he's dropping deep. And look, anyone that plays Astro, anyone that plays on a team, and is a player of amazing ability, like number 1 here. You know yourself, right? If you don't have the players to get you the ball, you're going to get the ball, and you then become creator and finisher, right? So that tells me he actually has no trust in the people behind him to get him the ball in the positions he needs. So what you need to do is you need to get an Ndombele in there who will get Harry Kane the ball into positions he needs. You need to get Son flying out the left-hand side, whether it be Lucas or whoever, flying down the right-hand side. And that will open up more space for Harry Kane too. And then that way, Harry Kane will stick up top and you have your vocal point in attack. But I'm telling everybody now, and I know this, and I know it for a fact, the reason why he is dropping deep is because he doesn't trust his teammates to get him the ball. And it's that simple. Anyone that plays football and has been the best player on the team will always end up doing that. And that's where Harry Kane is at the minute. But I think we do have to get him back up top where he belongs. I don't even want to look. I know he had his best season last season under Jose Mourinho, dropping deep, picking up the ball. You know what I mean? With his, in terms of assists and goals. But you were never, ever going to get that for 2 or 3 years running off Harry Kane. It was never going to happen. Teams can find you out very, very easily in the Premier League. And you always have to be coming up with fresh ideas and stuff like that. So, look, that's put to bed. That's never going to happen. I don't want to see that again. I want to see Harry Kane back up where he belongs like he was under Pochettino. And that's what I want to see. But big up Paul Markey. Another great super chat, sparking absolutely great debate. Big yourself up, my man. Really appreciate that. And William Kelly says, I see the media have started the Kane and City saga again. Not good for the team again. Well, look, what would you say to this, Philip?
Must be a slow news day when they're starting that old chest.
Philip would have a good one for this.
It's always a slow news day.
There must be no goat stuck up a mountain anywhere or something. But I don't know. I need to guess it's the sun that's doing it. Well, the thing about it is they're 4 months too early. Nothing can happen until January anyway. So it'll be tomorrow's fish and chips. That paper wrapped in. So now,
well, Jack,
don't get me started on the press.
What would you say, Jacko?
I mean, I think, they're definitely trying to make it much more than it probably is. But at the same time, am I a bit worried, Dave? I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say I'm a bit worried, because a lot of us were kind of thinking he would just, in no way, shape, or form would in any way down tools. A lot of people are talking about the body language. A lot of people are talking about, the head being down and stuff. Again, I don't have the privilege of really being there. So I would say I can't really speak to that. Also, we're running the watch alongs as well. So sometimes, I'm not able to look at every single, blink and every single, eye twitch and whatnot to be able to make that decision. But I would say I am starting to get a bit worried, Dave. It's not because of what, Sky is producing or whatnot, or the Sun or whoever, people they call themselves journalists. I would say it's just, what we've been seeing on the pitch, Dave, has just been a bit concerning. It's not really the old Harry Kane. I don't really think it even has too much to do with Nuno. I think Nuno has actually been trying quite hard, to incorporate him back into the side. And it just seems like we're not seeing the same Harry Kane from the past. But I'm going to maybe say I'm going to go against what I just said and just say I think he's going to come back. I think hopefully he's going to have to realize that if he were to, maybe sulk like this, maybe like what Sky and everything is saying, then I think he would really destroy his reputation. And I really don't want him to do that, Dave, because I think he'd be foolish to do that. I don't think he is that foolish in any way whatsoever to do that. So I would say he's just going to come good eventually. The sooner, the better, of course. But I'm not going to lie to you and say I am a bit worried maybe with how it's been going so far with Harry. And I'm with Philip, though. I do think, some of them at Sky, they're practically just, if they're not maybe throwing darts, at the wall and whatnot, coming up with what news story to come up with, it seems like they're practically thanking City, they're thanking Harry Kane that they're giving them, actual stuff to cover here, stuff to make up and whatnot. If they're probably actually quite grateful that, this sort of rumor happened this summer, because then allowed them to actually speculate with some sort of, basis that really isn't very strong, but at least they have some basis to speculate off of, Dave. So I think it's just them just continuing to regurgitate, the news story that they know sells papers.
Look, what I would say to that is look, every single media company, no matter whether it's the Sun or whatever, they will always have players or people that when there's no news that they can just bring that up again and stir the pot. Paul Pogba was one of them. As much as I think he's a shithead, Paul Pogba was one of them. Slow news day. Oh, Paul Pogba wants to leave United. Slow news day. Oh, Harry Kane wants, or City and Harry Kane again. There's you can see it throughout. I'm sure if you go back look at newspapers when there's slow news days, you always see a certain person in the press. And it's purely because they have absolutely nothing else to do, and they have to sell papers, don't they? They have to sell headlines, and they have to keep Sky Bet. They have to keep Sky Bet going as well. So there's all that to take into consideration.
Talk about insider trading, Dave. Talk about insider trading.
No, but there will be people now, that will get on it early thinking it's going to happen in January now because Sky have said it, and they get the bets in and stuff like that. Look, there's players throughout football. I hate to say it. Raheem Sterling, he's another one. There's players throughout football that will always make headlines on a slow news day, and it's as simple as that. But Philip, I think you're going to say something else.
Well, I'm. This is one for the older viewers now, but I'm waiting for the headline in the Sun: Harry Kane ate my hamster. Yeah, I know. Somebody will get that. Years ago, Freddie Starr is alleged to have eaten a hamster live on stage, and that was the headline in the Sun: Freddie Starr ate my hamster.
Yeah, hamster live on stage.
Ridiculous. It was just so ridiculous that nobody believed it, but it absolutely sold millions of copies of that newspaper for that very headline. People were buying to see what it was all about.
Jesus Christ.
It's only a matter of time for they're accusing Harry Kane of having an affair. They're going to accuse him of snorting cocaine or something. You wait.
Maybe with Dele's girlfriend, Pep Guardiola's daughter. Yeah, Harry Kane.
There you go. It's coming because they've kept it clean so far. But I tell you, if it's going to get dirty, they're going to get Harry Kane out of Spurs one way or the other. With these salacious headlines,
Very true, Adam, by the way. Very true. And I think David already highlighted it, but that's also very true. They have an agenda towards everyone, Adam. They have an agenda towards everyone, whether it be in Raheem Sterling's case, like you said, or whether it be, with other players like Paul Pogba. Like David said, there are a million examples, even apart from Harry Kane.
No, millions. Look, the press run the world. They can spin whatever they want out there. And unless you're there at the live scene, you never actually know what's going on. So they can do what they want and put what they want in there to sell things. It's so I'm not surprised, to be honest with you.
I reckon they've got a dartboard in the Sun newsroom.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. They're just throwing
player names around the board. And wherever they got land, that's his day for the story. That's it.
Yeah. Thank you, Philip. That's exactly what I meant. Thank you.
Absolutely love it. That's hilarious. But look, Kuva99 says, we've now seen what it's like keeping Kane. Are the negatives now outweighing the positives? Sadly, I think we'll have to see, or we'll have to sell while he has value. Do you know what? Jack and Philip, you guys can take this one. Look, Jacko, you go first.
Now that we've seen what's keeping Kane, I mean, we just kind of maybe explained it, Kuva. I just think, Harry Kane, I'm getting worried. I don't think maybe, he's in any way, downgrading his value. I'd really not even like to consider still that we'd be selling him because of this situation where, we're practically forced to sell him. I'd like to sell him in the scenario where City do put up that bid. I'd like to sell him in the scenario where City find themselves thinking, listen, in order for us to make top 4 this season and not have 0-0 draws against Southampton, we're going to need somebody like Harry Kane in the lineup. That's what I would like to maybe see happen. I don't want Harry Kane to force his way out just by maybe, and to a degree, just downgrading his value. I do think there are a lot of negatives that are starting to come up, especially with the way he's been playing. No matter how world-class somebody is, when they do start maybe kind of hurting the squad in maybe this sort of way, you do have to maybe, kind of face up to it and think, all right, we can't just continue to give him favors, but we are Tottenham Hotspur, and, this team is full of favors. This team is full of favors to certain players. So I would say I don't like to really cut into it too much. I don't like to cut him into too much because I think he's bought himself, in my opinion, probably a full year, if not more than that, of horrible performances. He could practically, I don't know, like I said with Tongi, if he could break every dish in my house and I would still forgive him, Harry Kane. And I don't know, COVID-99, it's hard. I understand that, the negatives are starting to outweigh the positives, especially with the way we have to cater towards him. But there's a reason that we catered towards him in the past. There is a very good reason why we did it. Yeah, and it's like I don't know. It'd be like saying that with Lewandowski or Zlatan or something like that, Dave, where it's like, yeah, he doesn't have pace. Yeah, he doesn't have this. But you're catering towards him for a reason. Is because he's supposed to be the best striker in the world. He's supposed to be one of the best strikers in the world, at least, even if you don't think that. So I would just say I would like to think that the negatives won't outweigh or I'd like to think the positives will outweigh the negatives. But yeah. I see where people are getting frustrated. And maybe also they're seeing something in Harry Kane that I'm not. And I can't deny that, Dave. I really can't. But no. I'd like to continue to give him that faith. And Kuva99 also continuing to give us the Batman and Robin and the SpongeBob and Patrick, duo names, David. And also Kuva99. Just want to big you up as well.
No, big up Kuva99. Look, all I'm going to say before I get Philip's thoughts on it is look, while there's people that still think Swinks should be here, Dele Alli should be here, and the likes, why are we talking about selling Harry Kane when we still have fans out there giving some of these guys, a chance who have never actually really, like, especially in the likes of Bergwijn case and stuff like that, who've never actually really performed for Tottenham on a consistent basis. Until I hear more of them people saying I want them gone, well, then I'm not even going to enter this debate about how they're selling Harry Kane, to be honest with you. But I do understand. I do understand where people are coming from. I was sitting here questioning it today myself. Should we have took the money? But the ultimate solution I came to is why there's people out there still saying that Winks and Davies and Ali and Bergwijn and all should still be here ahead of him. I'm not entering the debate.
A lot of it, though, is recency bias as well, though, Dave. A lot of it is, just we've seen horrible performances recently. And, there's someone that has come into the side that we do think maybe is causing it. I just think it's also a bit of recency bias, potentially just a bit of that, just bias towards Harry Kane, to a certain degree, considering, what's happened over the summer. And I just like to think that he'll prove us wrong. But sorry, Dave. Yeah, continue.
No. That's all I was going to say on it. Philip, what's your thoughts?
Right. Up to a couple of years ago, Harry Kane had never scored a league goal in August. And that was nearly a crisis. Then he scored in August. This season, we've had the transfer debacle. He's not turning up for training when he should. His delayed arrival. His eventual non-going to Man City. He's not playing very well in the few games that he's played. But I still think, as I've said several times tonight, over the next few weeks, we are going to start seeing the Harry Kane that we all know and love from last season. He's not the player to sit and sulk. Okay, he may have done it a wee bit now, but he's probably get that out of his system. Get it out of his system. Get back to scoring goals. And when he does that, there are no negatives, only positives. And okay, I doubt he'll win the Golden Boot this season, but I nearly guarantee you he'll score 20 goals.
100%.
Right? And that's all I can say. I don't want to see him go. If he goes, he goes. If he goes, it'll not be because of the sun. It'll be because Daniel Levy drives a hard bargain. You know?
Yeah.
And I am more than confident that Harry Kane will knuckle down and that in a few weeks' time, we'll not be sitting here with a lot of doom and gloom. Like we've had too many players. It happens to teams now and again. We have maybe half a dozen players off form at the same time who haven't been playing anywhere near their capabilities.
Yeah.
But form is lack of form is temporary. It'll come back.
Yeah.
And that's why Nuno's tactics, Nuno's ideals will get through to the players very, very shortly now. And the only way is up. That's all I'm gonna say.
I couldn't agree more. Look, I found myself sitting there thinking about the situation today. I just sitting there, I was like thinking, like the world's a mad place. Like we're crying out for goals and we're talking about selling Harry Kane and dropping Harry Kane and, a world-class player who's got us most of our goals over the last few years. The world is a mad place. I understand the questions. I understand it and all. But look, for me, I ultimately just came around to more or less what Philip was saying, but I'll complete the saying is look, form is temporary, class is permanent, and that's what I ultimately came down to thinking today, and that was my answer on it. But big Kufa, again, big up for the talk.
I would say, Kuva, more people are feeling your way than even, the way we've defended Harry. I feel like, Kuva, a lot of people feel the same way as you do. In fact, even more, I would say, than even the way we express it. So, Kuva, as well, really big yourself up. And again, love the nicknames and love the duo comparisons as well. Kuva, really also another very thought-provoking, as I'm continuing to say with the Harris Army. I mean, David, they really stand the test. They stand the test. So, Kuva, big yourself up.
No, another great discussion point. Big up, Kuva. Sorry, Philip.
Just one thing I'd like to say there. One statistic I saw this week that I hope is going to change very radically over the next couple of games is I think we're 17th for shots on target, or 19th, one of the two. I can't remember which. And we're 17th or 19th for goals scored. Now, is that Tottenham? No. Is that going to change? Yes.
Yeah.
And when's it going to change? Shortly.
Absolutely love it. Couldn't say anything better myself. We could have skipped this whole question with that answer there. Big up, Philip. Absolutely love it. Phil, big up, Phil. I have to say, the guy I think looks like Matt Letizia. He came on the fan show on the pre-match pump up the other day. Big yourself up, Philip. Have you seen Phil?
No, I haven't actually. No.
Oh well. No, I want anyone that's seen Phil on When You're Talking TV. Let me know. Do you think he looks like Matt Letizia? I think he does. There's definitely a bit of Matt Letizia in there. But big up, Phil. Please do get in contact. My email address is below and all that sort of jazz. So do get in contact. I want to have a word with you, my man. Big yourself up, Phil. Who else have we got here? Tottenham Tantrum says, Philip, I remember that. I was only a young lad at the time. He's talking about the hamster eating.
Yes, the hamster one. Yeah, good stuff. That was, my God. I think he was right. That happened around the time the Berlin Wall came down. I think the Sun had 15 pages about Freddie Starr and half a page about the Berlin Wall,
Shows the journalism. Dermot, all I can say is hopefully maybe you didn't believe it, but I would say probably at that age, I would say the Sun probably could convince you of anything, especially as a young lad. I would say probably the Sun would have convinced me of anything. So Dermot, tell me if you actually believed it, when you heard about it.
I think most people will agree. The only thing the Sun is good for is page 3. And let's not all lie about this. We're all young once. The only thing Sun is good for is the page 3. But big up, what I'm talking about, Dermot. You know, or Dermot and Philip. Sorry, you know exactly what I'm talking about. 100%.
I don't know if anyone watched the old Ronnie Barker program, Porridge. It's on UK Gold a lot. Yeah. One day he's in the cell. He asks the guy, says, "Can you get me a copy of the Sun?" "Oh yeah, get me something to read as well."
Absolutely love it. Jack, I'll explain to you what page 3 is when we're off.
Will do, Dave. And Dave, I think this next question, I know we're getting towards the end anyway, but maybe this could be my last question just because, I got to meet up with the misses after this next question.
Yeah, no, 100%. Big yourself up.
Honestly, that was brilliant, Philip. I'm going to start using that for the Sun now. I'm just going to say, every morning I'm going to have my athletic for, reading, and I'm going to have my Sun, for something else.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. And we're David and Jack equals Fred Flintstone, Barney Rubble. I'd take that. I like that one. But look, guys, I do have 1 or 2 more questions left. But look, Jack, Nuno said something interesting today that when we go behind 1-0, we don't have the fight, we don't have the character. What else did he say? Yeah, so he just said, look, we're basically, as a team, we're not strong enough. We're not strong enough to react, Jack. And look, for me, it's a reoccurring theme. I've heard managers say this so many times down the years. So many times. It's a reoccurring theme at Tottenham. Jack, is it a mentality problem? Is it a lack of belief in their ability? And if so, how do we fix it? We have to fix this problem at Tottenham Hotspur if we want to get to the next level.
I think it is a problem that we have. It must be said first. I do think it's a problem we have. It's actually similar, I would say, and I said this to David earlier today. I think we have this problem that's actually quite similar to what PSG and Man City have, and I'm actually quite surprised I'm even comparing ourselves to them, in terms of mentality. But, those teams, when they go down first, they actually really do struggle at actually being able to lift themselves. They kind of get pouty, especially PSG. They start throwing in the naughty tackles and whatnot, start complaining and, start throwing up their hands in the air. Man City are a bit similar. And maybe the reference, Dave, it's almost like a boxing match where it's like if they get punched in the mouth first, they're not usually a team that gets punched in the mouth first. So when they do, they actually really struggle with bouncing back from it. While with Spurs, I would say we do get punched in the mouth first a lot, but it does seem like we really do struggle in a similar way of bouncing back. It really is funny. To a degree, I would also even say, Dave, how to fix it. It really should be something that actually should be a lot more fixable than maybe the likes of Man City and PSG, because some of these players should not have this superiority complex or whatever it might be that might think, we have this in the bag. Oh, we're going to win this no matter what. Because that's what seems to be the case in our mentalities, that we seem to think that we can just kind of, cruise control, to certain victories. And I think that's especially the case with Harry Winks and Ben Davies and whatnot. Even Eric Dyer, to a degree, sometimes seems to think that we can just cruise control our way to victory. And so I would just argue that I don't know where it's coming from, because it's not like any of these players have necessarily achieved as much as some of the players I just mentioned or some of the teams I just mentioned. So in my case, Dave, I would say the way you fix it is just simply probably instilling some sort of reality check on these players. Yeah. Like, listen, the fans are at your throats for a reason. And that's because you haven't achieved anything in whatever time. Also, practically in the case of Harry Winks, Ben Davies and whatnot, and apologies, Chris, I know I'm cursing by mentioning their names for real. It's just we have a lot of people in the Harris Army that are new that probably wouldn't know what I mean by some of the nicknames. So I would say, Chris, you can get me later for it. I owe you one for some of the cursing that I've done with some of their names. But I don't know, Dave. I think it's just some sort of reality check, some sort of like maybe you just have to show Harry Winks what people are saying about him online. You got to show Moon Boots what some of these people are saying about that online. And then as well, Dave, maybe it also falls a bit on the manager, because at the same time, you can maybe train a bit better, considering like maybe I used to do it in certain sports, Dave. The coach sets you up in situations where they want the teammates to kind of spark with each other. Let one team, maybe one team starts 2 goals ahead. One team starts with maybe even better players, better squad, and then the team that feels like they're missing better players in a scrimmage or a sevens or a fives or whatever it may be, Dave. You kind of. It's just some sort of a mentality, kind of mental games. And these are actually things, Dave, that actually the manager should be a lot better at, because this is kind of why the Thomas Tuchels and the Jurgen Klopps and stuff in the world are actually such great coaches, because a lot of it also comes with how they train them mentally, how they train them for situations like this. So it falls on the players, of course, because they haven't achieved anything. And by no means should they be surprised when they go 1-0 down. I don't think they should be surprised at all, considering, their quality. But I think it also falls back on the manager, because the manager should be able to be trained in some of these things, some of these psychological kind of training methods that just come with, teaching competition, Dave, teaching competitiveness, teaching, that ability to, want to kind of earn back a win, even scrap out a 1-0, whatever it may be. They just need to start teaching some of these lessons. And I don't know, Dave, it's not kind of crazy to say, you were probably taught some of those things at times. The coach would probably put you in a situation where, you're being handed Doherty's, you're being handed Winkses on your team, and the whole team is full of, practically a bunch of brilliant players, and you have to basically be on your own and try to scratch out something. And I would say it's just lessons like that. And it falls on the coach a little bit as well, Dave. I know that's kind of a roundabout answer about things, but I think it does kind of fall on both. And at the same time, I think it is on the manager to teach these kind of psychological lessons.
No, 100%. And look, no, that's an absolute great answer. But look, Jack, I know you have to go. You better not keep the missus waiting. We don't want you sleeping on the couch, my man. So look, before you go, maybe give us quickly your midfield or defense and your score prediction, and we'll let you off.
Definitely. Galini, Tanganga at right back, Rodon and Sanchez center backs. Just so that I'm not, it's unfortunately Dark Sun G. And again, don't shoot the messenger. It is just going to be catastrophe at left back. It is just going to be, don't shoot the messenger. I can't even say. It's just that's what it's going to be. Center defensive mid is going to be Skippy. I think it's going to be Dele, and I really can't. It might be Harry Winks, Dave. It really might be, but it might be Dele. I'm going to say Dele, Gio, and then a front three of Harry Kane, Hill, and I'm going to go Scarlett actually as well. I think Scarlett and Harry Kane have a potential of playing together potentially. So I'm going to go with that. And then as well, for Flat Cap Euro Talk, everybody, please. Oh, score prediction, Dave. Score prediction. I'm going to go it's going to be a close one. I'm going to say 2-1, 1-1, even maybe even go to extra time at a certain stage. Could be 1-1, 1-0. It's going to be very tight affair. It's not going to be easy, fellas. I really don't think it is. And then for Flat Cap Euro Talk, everybody, we have a Kim Min-jae scout report. It's going to be updated once he just plays more games in the Turkish league, because there's only so many things I can do when it comes to finding out the stats in the Chinese Super League and whatnot. I was really scraping the barrel for finding out, the stats, especially as a stat man myself, Dave. It was a struggle. But I would say, we're trying to maybe figure out the legality of doing highlight reel packages and stuff for some of these players, maybe give you a better synopsis of some of them. But the Kim Min-jae scout report is out in case you wanted to look at that. I'm pretty sure for, people like David or Dark Sun G, and I do mean the David of the Harris Army, not the David next to me here. I'm pretty sure they already know plenty about Kim Min-jae. But in case anybody wants to know about him, it is in there, as well as my team of the weekend just came out. If you want to check out that, Shamu and I Shamu is going to be joining me for all of the itches of the week, for all the flat cap itches of the week. We're going to be debating which itch we think will be winning each itch of the week. And then as well, Dave, we do have a special watch along coming up this Saturday where David and I will be watching Borussia Dortmund against Borussia Mönchengladbach. David's going to be nerding out over Haaland. I'm going to be just nerding out over any Bundesliga action at all. And honestly, Dave, I think we got a lot of stuff planned out on Flat Cap Euro Talk this week. So I would say just stay tuned over there as well.
No, 100%. Do get over there and check it out, guys. Especially join us for the Dortmund Gladbach watch along. It's just a bit of fun. It's going to be fun. We get to watch Haaland play as well. I'm a real
talk
fan
about mentality, Dave. Talk about mentality. That's what I will say.
Exactly. Wanting to be the best. But look, Jack, we better let you go, my man. We don't want you sleep on the couch. I don't want, you seeing you grumpy tomorrow. It's like, what's wrong, Jam? My back is sore. I had to sleep on the couch. I got there late. So you better go, lad.
We're going to be making carbonara tonight, and it sounds like I'll be eating it from a dog bowl probably tonight, Dave. But hopefully not. But thank you. Appreciate you, the Harris Army. And as always, definitely will be seeing you. And if you're interested in any of those Flat Cap Euro Talk vids, definitely check those out after this tonight. Appreciate you.
Nah, big up, Jack, and we'll see you again tomorrow, my man. But look, Philip, I won't keep you too much longer either myself, my man. I'll just have a couple of questions left, and we will end it there. Everybody, make sure you're smashing that like button. Make sure you smash that subscribe button if you're new. And why not help support the channel with a super chat too? It does get you to the very top of the queue, guys. It does. But look, Philip, same thing to you. Look, this mentality problem. Look, how do we get rid of it?
It's been there for 50 years or more in one form or another. The Spurs always had this reputation of folding under pressure. Southern softies. So Alex Ferguson used to do the famous line, "Our lads at Spurs."
Yeah,
I mean that sums it up. I was of the opinion that most clubs had their in-house psychologist working on players' mental issues and keeping them positive thinking and all this sort of thing. Is Levy too mean to pay one, or don't we have one? I mean, it's something that I think only a professional in that field can get through to the players and instill positivity in them. As far as I can remember, Pochettino's son did that role when Poch was at the club, but obviously he left whenever Poch did. So was he replaced? That'd be a good question to ask.
Probably not.
Probably not. The manager has a lot to do with it. The manager should be able to sit the players down, tell them they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. And have them pumped up for every game. That's not happening, and it's worrying. And it just seems that the mindset is so fragile. Okay, if we go 1-0 up or 2-0 up in a game, that's different. But when we go 1-0 down, they start going back into their shell. There's no fight there. They look like Spurs go behind these days. You nearly know they're not going to win the match.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen unless we get really lucky. And that's why on Sunday, once Chelsea got 2-0 up, that was it. There was never going to be a comeback. Even at 1-0, there was never going to be a comeback. So I don't know what the solution is. Hire a professional who's good at their job. If not, that hypnotize the bloody players before the match. Get Keith Bailey in and do a job on them, to hypnotize them.
Yeah.
Put them into a mindset. But no, they're not just, I don't know. If they have a psychologist, they're not listening to him.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Look, for me, it's a very frustrating problem to have because once we break that barrier, we will be an elite club. We will get there. We just need to break that barrier. And look, how we go about it, I'm not sure. Look, I do think, maybe some of the recruitment, I do think that's a massive part to do with it. Are we looking into that side on them players' behalf? You look at Dele Alli for big money, Lo Celso, people like that. Are we doing enough recruitment into their mental side of the person and stuff like that? Who knows? Yeah. But look, all I know is it's a problem that we definitely have to get fixed. Look, Philip, we seen we already played Wolves. We've seen our midfield is going to have to work incredibly hard to get the 3 points or to get the win into the next round. Who would you play in your midfield?
Right, I would play. I think Skip didn't start on Sunday. I'll say he's going to start. I don't think Højbjerg will play. He'll be on the bench. So I'd say we'll probably start with the midfield 3 of Skip, Dele Alli, and possibly Lo Celso. I don't think Ndombele will be played. We started. I just, in a way, I would like to see him start, but I don't think he will. I think it'll be those 3. Possibly, if he doesn't fancy Lo Celso after Sunday, it could be our favourite, Mr. Winks.
Yeah, look, honestly, he plays away at Wolves. We're not winning that game, especially away. Especially away.
Anyway, we're not winning the game. Doesn't mean to be Wolves. But the thing about it is, I know we all know what we think of Harry Winks, but Nuno might rate him. You just don't know,
Yeah, he probably does rate him, but look, if he looks at the common denominator, when other managers had to start relying on some of these players and they were playing, results dipped, performances dripped, and ultimately cost them their job. Look, I agree with you. I'm already braced myself. I think he could be in for a shout. Look, me personally, I would actually like to see Skip and maybe Ali in there doing the hard graft, and then you can free Ndombele in there then to get forward and play more of a further forward role, and maybe Lo Celso out one side with Bryan Gil out the other on the wings. But no, look, no matter what happens, that midfield 3 tomorrow, it has to be even if you play Ndombele, the 2 behind them, they have to be extremely hardworking and they have to want to be able to tackle players. So because we're not going to get much joy if we don't turn the ball over in that midfield tomorrow. So for me, I do think we need as much legs in there and as much steel in there as we can get tomorrow. Look, Philip, another thing we've seen with Wolves, they do play this. They do create an awful lot of chances. They create an awful lot of chances, but they can't score. They haven't won at home this season. They haven't scored at home this season. But despite the facts, it still remains Adama Traore is an absolute handful. Who would you play across the back 4 to try and stop him?
Well, I mean, I do think again. I mean, I know Jack had Tanganga playing at right back. I think Doherty's going to play tomorrow night. I think it's going to be Doherty, Roden, Sanchez, and Davies. Don't like saying that. That's just the way it's going to be. Reguilón is not going to be playing against Wolves. He's going to be kept for Arsenal. So who else have we got? Really, it's going to be Davies.
I couldn't agree more.
We're going to have Winks playing, we're going to have Davies playing, and we're going to have Doherty playing. Doesn't exactly still need confidence now.
I'm not going to sleep tonight. Thanks for that, Philip. But no, look, for me...
I'd love to say we're going to play Emerson on the right and we're going to play Reguilón on the left, but that's not going to happen. Not with Arsenal coming up.
Yeah.
Although, then again, you just don't know. None of us expected Son to play on Sunday.
That's true. That is very, very true.
You just don't know. Let's just hope that the team he puts out is strong enough, determined enough, skillful enough, and scores enough goals to get us into the next round.
No, 100%. I couldn't agree more. Look, for me, just quickly, I would actually play Tanganga right back, Roden, Sanchez centre backs, and the inevitable is going to happen. Davies at left back. Look, I do think if we get suckered into playing Doherty one side and Davies the other side, honestly, it makes the Wolves manager's job a lot easier because he can just put Traore on either side and he's going to get joy. So that's very, very concerning. That's just something for us Spurs fans to take note. And then just another question before I want to ask you, Philip, before I get your score prediction and we do end off, is look, we see around the fan base, there's an awful lot of pressure being put on Nuno at the minute. You know, he was asked today about delivering attacking football. You know, for the fans, the football that the fans was promised from Daniel Levy in his video. He has come out and said, look, I would love to, but I can't promise it. With the injuries we've had, the players in quarantine, you know, the Kane situation, you know, I've done the best with what I can and I've adapted to the situation. You know, apart from that, I need more time on the training pitch with these players, but I will do it and we will work hard to do it. Do you think us Spurs fans are maybe demanding too much from Nuno so soon, and that we just need to back off and give the guy time to do his job, like we did with Pochettino? Look at the rewards we got from it.
I think FIFA 21 and the FIFA that's went before, they have a lot to answer for, because every football fan now thinks they know better than the manager of the real clubs. You know, we're armchair warriors here. We're criticizing every move the manager makes as if we know better ourselves. We don't. Now, as I said numerous times tonight, as time goes on, the squad gets fitter. We get all our players back. We get the message Nuno is trying to get across gets through to the players.
Yeah.
The results improve, which they will. The criticism diminishes. We're winning, there's no criticism. We're losing, there's lots of it. Yeah. So give him time. It will come right. Okay, it might take a little bit longer than we thought he was going to hit the ground running with those first 3 wins. We've been brought back to earth with a severe bump since that.
Yeah.
And it's now time to get back in the saddle again tomorrow. Start winning games. Start shutting up the guys that want rid of Nuno. Like, let's face it. Unless Daniel Levy has got someone big lined up to replace him, Nuno's going nowhere. He's our manager for the foreseeable future. And that's the way it should be. Because you can't go changing horses in midstream.
Not if you want to be Arsenal.
We're not doing a Watford. We're not doing an Arsenal. You know. Yeah. So no, it's no. Nuno will get there. He's been very, very unfortunate with the injuries, the defections, the international break coming when it did, taking the impetus off the team, and not being able to get rid of all the deadwood. But I've great faith in him. Harry Kane will come back to his scoring best, and the likes of Lucas Moura gets fit again, Bergwijn gets fit again. Let's face it, we've too much talent in that squad to be languishing in mid-table or below. And the manager, it's his first season at a really big club. Like anyone else, you go into a new job, you don't know everything on the first day. It takes a little bit of time to get to know the runnings of the club, to get to know what your chairman is like, although I'm sure he knows that already, and to get to know your players and the players to know you. And that is coming slowly but surely. And I would make a prediction by the end of October, Spurs will be comfortably in the top 6.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love that. No, look, I agree with you. Look, for me, I actually think we do need to give him time. Look, don't get me wrong, I was upset after the Chelsea game, and don't get me wrong, I do think you can question certain stuff that Nuno's doing. But look, at the end of the day, you can't ignore the injuries, you can't ignore the players out, that were out quarantining. And look, you can't ignore the fact that, he has to adapt to get Harry Kane into a system that he didn't think he'd have Harry Kane. So, look, for me, and as well, if you think about with all the international break games, the Europa Conference League games and stuff like that, he's not getting enough time on the training pitch. And people are going to say, oh, yeah, but he had pre-season. I get that. But he didn't have everybody pre-season, did he? So he needs time to work with absolutely everybody. He had no Kane pre-season. Lo Celso had no pre-season. Romero. Who else have we got there? You're talking other players. No pre-season whatsoever. So we have to give the guy time. And for me, I don't want to go down the route of Arsenal Football Club, because ultimately it will come back and bite us in the ass. And we'll be sitting here with a manager that's never managed before and sitting here saying trust the process. So for me, look, I do think we have to just back off and give the guy time to work. Give him time to work, and let's see what he can do. Tottenham Tantrum says Spurs need to offer Roy Keane a job. The like of Winks and Mr. 33 and co. would get a shock. Big up, guys. Great show as always. Get your likes. Spurs to win 3-0. Yeah, look, honestly, if Roy Keane got a hold of them, Dermot, honestly, you know what he's like. Philip, you know what he's like. What would he do?
Oh, Jesus. With all due respect, Dermot, if Roy Keane came into our club, well, we probably might avoid relegation first season, just about. Roy Keane is not a good manager. He's a great pundit. He talks a great game, but putting it into practice, no, forget it. No. Sorry.
No, do you know what? Interesting enough, actually, recently with Gary Neville, I'm sure you watched it. He said, look, I have made mistakes and I do want to get back into it, and there's things I do differently. So, look, it'd be very interesting to see if the man is ever given the chance. But one thing I have to say, I absolutely love what he comes out with. He's absolutely golden.
Absolutely.
He is golden. If he was in the dressing room with Harry Winks and Ben Davies, oh, my God, honestly, the guy would be pulling his hair out. They wouldn't be in the dressing room. They'd be getting changed in their car, and he'd make sure that happens until they produce. The guy is an absolute savage, and you do not cross him. And look, and they definitely get a shock, Dermot, that's for sure. Look, thank you. I'm really glad you enjoyed the show, my man. And of course, Spurs 3-0. Look, it's a big one away at the Molineux, but I'm loving the confidence, my man. And big yourself up for support. You're a top man, Dermot. Everyone else, feel free. We will be ending off now in 5 minutes. Feel free to get your super chats in if you have enjoyed the show, guys. It's a great way to help. We'll take a few comments. Sue Smith says, Phil Nuno walked into a shit show, not of his making. I remember nobody else wanted the job. 100%. Zanuska says, exactly. Nuno has been dealt the worst cards right now, and he needs time to put the team together. And managing Spurs is a tough job, which is why lots of managers decided not to take the job. Again, absolutely spitting facts. Absolutely love it. Great comments from you girls. Blue Mountain says, if the chairman won't back the team, the players won't care either. That is also a fair point. But big yourself up. But look, guys, we've kept Philip long enough. So look, last two questions is Philip, of course, we got to the final last year, Philip. Can we get back there again this year to Wembley? And can we lift that trophy?
Yeah, why not? Why not? I mean, it's a competition we do really well in usually, apart from not winning it since 2008.
Yeah.
But there's no reason why. We probably, with a bit of luck, get a home draw in the next round if we get through Wolves tomorrow night. So there's no reason why we can't. But it would be nice if somebody could take care of Manchester City for us.
Yeah.
Because they've gone for, has it 4 or 5 in a row? Forget how many they've won.
Yeah.
And they came back from 1-0 down to win 6-1 tonight. I think it's 6. And,
I'm sick of them.
Yeah, and they'll probably get drawn against the weakest team that's left the competition at home tomorrow as well, So we can do it. But obviously we've got to get by tomorrow night. And for that, I am going to go for a streaky 2-1 to Spurs.
No, absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. Look, for me, I actually do think it will be a tight game. I'm going to go 1-0 Tottenham myself. I'm going for another 1-0 that up at the Molineux. Look, what I will say is the Foxes are hungry for silverware, but are they hungrier than Tottenham? I don't think so. We are absolutely starved. So we're going to stuff the Foxes tomorrow or the Wolves tomorrow, guys. And then we're going to go up to the Emirates on my train, and we're going through one end, out the other, and back to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium where we should be enjoying ourselves with the victory. Philip, I want to say a massive thank you to you, my man, for coming on and doing the preview. Really enjoyed it as always. Of course, everyone else in the comments, really loving what you're saying and really engaging with what you're saying, which is brilliant. So thank you, Philip, for giving up your time, my man.
Well, it's a pleasure as always.
No, it definitely is. It definitely is. But look, guys, in terms of what's coming up, make sure you tune back in here at 7:35 p.m. tomorrow for the watch-along for the Wolves game. So make sure you do tune in. But look, I want to say a massive thank you to you, the Harris Army out there, for tuning in. Absolute, your support is amazing. The way you just continue to support the channel with the likes, smashing the subscribe button, with the super chats. It's a massive help to absolutely everything we do here. So, guys, a massive thank you to you. Tottenham, Ribsy, it is 90 minutes, and then after 90 minutes, it goes straight to penalties. No extra time, no flapping about. But look, guys, as always, in Nuno we trust. Come on, you Spurs. And I'll see you back here tomorrow at 7:30.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.